I believe we are now live. Good evening, all. And I have with me at the moment three fine gentlemen and another fine gentleman waiting in the wings, who I can see has just connected. Two fine gentlemen.
Fine gentlemen. Asshat.
Oh, ass.
Asshat.
That way. So, hello, Iman. Hello, Bear. Hello, Saxius. I did call you. I can't call you accounting, dear. You're Saxius.
You can call me either one. That's fine.
Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
Hey. Daniel's asleep.
He's asleep.
I'm already falling asleep.
It's muscle memory at this point. It's like, oh, here we are.
Exactly. Log into show.
Hello, chat. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Elfbait. Hello, Brian. Hello, Andy. Hello, Halakar. Hello, Jerry. How are you all doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
Yeah.
Iman, you're next. You're on his immediate right. You get to talk next, or his immediate left.
It's a day. Yeah,
It's a day.
it's going.
It's an evening. Don't let Bear tell you it's a day, because it isn't. It's an evening. His clocks are wrong. Hello, Bear. How are you doing?
The fuck are you picking on me for, you fucking hobbit?
Hello,
Today
Saxius.
Listen, today is not the day, little man. You should have known that from our conversation previously. I'm on fucking.
Yeah. You're in a combative mood today.
I'm in a very combative
Oh,
fucking
he
mood
is.
today.
He is.
That was me yesterday. Yeah. No, it's all right. I'm still pondering how I'm going to be murdering this guy's character in my heroic game.
Oh, good.
Oh, it's really simple. You want me to give you how to do it?
Oh, I've got some ideas. I mean, I've already shared my immediate insights, but I think sometimes it's all right to bring it back a bit earlier. So send me notes, Bear, please. You know who I'm using.
I'm just saying it's very easy to take out a character in heroic when you want to.
Fair. Let's just do it. I can do
Iman's
it.
pretending he's not listening.
No,
Hello, Daniel.
So okay,
Okay.
first of all, it's all edge
Hello.
attacks, and secondly, it's all karma red line.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
You gotta just
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hi, Daniel. You're awake. We're happy.
Yeah, I took a nap on the way home from work.
While driving.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing I just got. Just
That's
Daniel
right.
in the car, sleeping, gun next to him, just driving through the highways.
Open container, cruise control.
That's what guardrails and cruise control are for. Set the cruise at 50, hit a guardrail, and just go alongside the guardrail.
First thing that jumped into my mind when he said had a nap on the way home from work is it stopped in the pub, and it got JD in one hand and the other hand on the table.
That's fair.
Yeah. Anyhow, any games recently, chaps? Iman? Yeah, I know you've played lots of games recently, haven't you, young man? Look at him! Look at it!
Oh, yes,
He's
okay.
popped his cherry. Oh, he's popped his cherry. Oh, yes.
Christ.
Tell the world. Tell the world.
All right, we good.
So I ran my first ever session on Saturday. And would you believe it was Call of Cthulhu? Wow, what a surprise.
Okay, listen, the mocking humor is our job. You just play it straight, young master.
No, it takes the power away from you, though.
Not really. It just makes it that we have to get meaner with our mocking.
Yeah,
Because we take the
he's
low-hanging
just gonna,
fruit.
yeah.
I don't think you understand that that's the opposite of how it works.
Oh, you sweet
Anyway.
summer. Oh, Junior. All right, keep going. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, I think all things considered, it went pretty well. Feedback has been overwhelmingly positive for the most part. But unfortunately, they all survived and were still sane. So I'll have to make up for that next time, eh? Hey, Dan?
And Dan's run away already. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you were a bit nice to them at times, but look, DMing is it's a learned skill, and I look back, think back to my first attempt, or even my first attempt when I came back into the hobby, and you were way better than those. So you've come in at a decent level.
Well, to be fair, I've had you and Bear and Saxius to learn off, and Andy.
Yeah, you've still got to learn your own way.
No, but you understand sort of like I look up to you guys in different regards for the things that you bring to the table, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I like it. He does that. He does that. He does that.
Okay, no, I'm jumping here. You've been willing to listen and take things on yourself. So stop trying to push away the compliments that we're giving you. Accept that we're saying you did well to begin with, and now keep on running more games, murder more player characters, and up those numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that I will do. But no, I will never accept your compliments. Just insult me. I'm used to that.
Oh, God, I will.
Were you a redheaded stepchild in your previous life?
Probably. Well, I do have a few ginger hairs in my beard here.
Listen, don't take shit from fucking Dollar General, fucking Willie Nelson down there, Iman. Just do what you got to do. Get your shit in order. Play the game, kill the characters, move on.
Dollar
General.
Man.
I had to do something, man. I had to take a shot. I haven't taken a shot at you in forever.
Dollar General Willie Nelson. That's funny.
It's good.
It is. It is. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
everyone today, do not poke the bear. I'm spicy as fuck.
John, can we rename the stream, please?
Your Carolina Reaper today.
And that's for pussies.
He's Pepper X.
Meow.
I'm fucking Oppenheimer spicy. You understand?
Meow. Wow.
All right. Moving on.
Moving on.
What is the topic based on this fucking title? What is the topic of the stream today?
The Undead.
Are we just talking about Bela Lugosi and fucking Bauhaus? Is that it?
We're talking about the Undead.
How much can we say about them?
Oh, dear God.
Read the stream notes I put under the stream.
Why would I do that? Why would I do that?
When have you been disorganized?
Wait, what? There's
What
notes?
There
What the
are
fuck?
stream notes. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Iman. There are notes. Who are you? What have you done with John?
He's
Hell, I'm happy I could log on, let alone read notes.
Oh, Jesus.
Mrs. Ye Old Geek, please check the basement for pods. Here it is. How do we portray the undead? What are our favorite examples of undead characters in Monster? Best adventure scenarios or encounters featuring the undead. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay. That's just some basic things to go on. How do we make undead interesting, basically? What do we like about them? What don't we like about them? When have they been used well? When are they not used well? Are they a bit too passé nowadays? Whatever. We're talking about the undead. I like the undead. My favorite type of mage is a necromancer. I've been into gothic music since my voice broke. I am a complete and utter edgelord when it comes to things like that.
You are a complete and utter basic bitch.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love it. I think the undead are fantastic. And one of the things that most annoyed me about 5th edition is how shit they made the undead.
Shit in terms of what?
Not frightening.
Okay.
The point of them when they're introduced into early role-playing games is that they were supposed to be frightening. They were not supposed to be enemies typically that the adventuring party would typically seek out. The easier the undead would mostly fight to the death. The easier undead never had any loot. The tougher undead sucked away your life force.
Is that where
It's
Life
great.
Drain was introduced?
Yes.
As one of the many, yeah.
Okay.
They were not something that you looked forward to fighting as an early adventure party. Whatever the game you were playing, Undead were brutal. I've been looking at some of them in MERP earlier before this stream. Yes, I did a bit of preparing, and they're nasty. They drown you. They suck your constitution. They're not pleasant. Not pleasant at all.
Sounds like my first 2 wives.
Yeah. So let's
We
start.
need a new bingo card thing for when Dan mentions his ex-wives.
Let's start then. Across any game, any age, any time, a favorite undead being. It can be an individual, it can be a type of creature. Why do you like them?
Are we talking strictly RPG or
Anything. Anything.
So that includes video games for you, man.
yes?
Yes.
All right, well, I will jump in since the crowd is absolutely roaring. The crypt thing. Because there's nothing that's more hilarious than you coming across I like to run them as though they've got extreme OCD. Just, you get into their crypt and it is spotless. It is clean. There is no dust.
They are
There's
you. They are Mr. Organized.
They are the people that are hired and created by the beings who run their little crypts to make sure that it is working. It's a functional crypt. It is a functional dungeon. You come there, those traps are reset every time. The crypt thing will then hire adventurers to go out and fetch the items that it requires and come back, and they will pay it as in accordance. And for the people who are then getting in there, falling into the traps, the crypt thing will be the one organizing the waves upon waves that will hone in, target the players, deprive them of sleep. And when it is really identified that there is a problem going on with said players, they will simply walk in, point at one or two, teleport them throughout the entire crypt, and would you look at that, the players have now been split. You have split the party. And we're back to what I was saying before, because I like playing the crypt things not as an mindless thing that just goes around and does things up. No. This thing is here to go, no. You are not meant to be here. I am going to separate you out. I'm going to have you murdered. Then I shall have you reanimated. You shall come back in, redo, brush up on all the damages you've done, put back all the nice vases, and then you shall stand here, you shall stand guard, and for the rest of your eternal life, you shall be murdering anyone else that comes in here. Why? Because that is my job. And I shall take my job very seriously. Which is why some of my players, Iman, you've met him, Aaron, the moment he discovers that there is a crypt thing anywhere, he will do everything to drive them up the walls. He will get out a dagger and singe through the tapestries. He will just take every painting and just tweak them so that they're slightly ajar, just to drive their OCD through the wall, which only makes them more angry. That's how I run them.
He is the most meta of meta gamers. You give him an inch, he will freaking yank the mile off you.
Aside from that, there's a multitude of other things I quite enjoy from the Undead. There is the easy answer of they don't have morale. That's one less thing for you to track as a game master. You have got the variety of different Undead that you have. The ones that drain levels, the one that only comes out during the nights. But I like to add flavor to the Undead. Because when the Undead are around, there is necrotic energy. There is negative energy, which I have reflected in the areas that they infest. Usually through the signs of, oh, it's summer, but why is there snow around here? Hey, someone has to do it. Most people call pencil pushers for zombies, so why not just live up to the reputation?
But yeah, you've got to make something to make it feel right. You've got to make something feel ominous. And I can't say I'm the greatest at bringing that into a D&D game, but I do bring it into a Call of Cthulhu game. But before I go off on one, Bear.
I can't stand undead. I don't use undead. Move on to someone else.
You don't like undead at all?
Can't stand
Why?
Because they're useless. They're not scary. When people can cast fireballs out of their fucking hands, they're not scary. Undead are scary when you're a normal person who's got a fucking stick. Or, ooh, I've got a gun and I shot them and they're still coming. That's scary. Oh, I can bibbity bobbity boop, bibbity pip and lightning bolt and magic missile and fucking misty step. Not scary.
But not in a not D&D terms. You still don't like
No one uses undead outside of D&D except for like the occasional zombie game.
That's a good point.
I use them rather liberally in Call of Cthulhu.
Okay, Call of Cthulhu is not a game. It's an experience.
Okay.
I'll die on that hill.
Okay.
I don't like them. What do you want me to say, man? I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm going to tell you the truth, always. I don't like undead. I don't use undead. I might use a skeleton once in a while because they're pretty good first-level monsters. But otherwise, I just don't care. They're like the worst. They annoy me.
Skeletons are fodder, aren't they? Skeletons are fodder.
I'm sorry, what?
Skeletons are fodder, really.
Yeah. Yes, they are. And I'm okay with that.
Daniel, a favorite undead?
I don't really have a favorite, but the best one I used, I think, was a Revenant. And one of the characters, I was the DM, one of the characters in the group, and hired a henchman, a fighter that dual-wielded broadswords. This was second edition, so you had all that stupid shit.
Just to quickly interject. I mean, your general life experiences, though. I thought you pretty much married a Revenant at some point.
Well, the first two, the second one must have been the first one, yeah.
Because they relentlessly come after you for your cash.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Anyway, back to the point.
but so he hired a second, I think it was a low-level group that were doing Keep on the Borderlands. Well, they were in the evil temple area, and they abandoned the guy and left him behind to get killed. And under the description, like I said, I believe it was a Revenant, correct me if I'm wrong. They come back for vengeance, but they come back with the same skills that they had when they died. So you had this undead creature that can only be killed by beheading, that dual-wielded broadswords that wanted nothing more to kill the whole group. And I tormented them for we played at least once a week. I tormented them for about a month and a half before the person that had hired them, his name was Kevin, looks like bear, only about 5'10", not 8'12". But and he used to be a bartender in one of the nicer bars in Buffalo, and a bouncer. So he finally got pissed off and he said, screw it, I'm just going to chop off his head. And that's what you had to do to kill him. But for about a month and a half, I tormented those guys with that thing. It was amazing. I can't remember its name, but they'd be like, oh, God damn it, it's that guy again.
I do like recurring villains, and a Revenant gives you that opportunity because of their relentless nature. And they are bastards. I tend to quite like visceral squick in my games. And I will say, my name I've given tonight gives a clue as to what my favourite form of undead. Certainly in the D&D days. I used to read that.
What does it say?
What?
The son of Cuse.
Yeah.
They were like partially mummy zombie things with maggots crawling out of their various parts of them.
Yeah, they're pretty nasty.
And they were really quite. I just accidentally leant on my keyboard. Then I've done it again. I must stop putting my book down on my keyboard. What's his name? Was whose name Strahd? The Revenant.
Apologies, I've returned.
You returned just in time to talk about your favourite undead individual or group or whatever.
Favorite, I'm not sure, but the first one that I ever encountered was the zombie from Resident Evil, and that left a lasting impression on me as a child.
And how old were you when you played this 18s and over game?
It was 1998, so I would have been 4, maybe still 3.
Oh my god. My daughter's older than you, man.
Yeah, of course. I mean, to be fair, gore and horror and stuff back then wasn't as graphic as it is now.
No.
Like, oh, pixelated blood.
Oh, yeah.
But there was something menacing about the... I mean, I remember my first horror game I played on a computer was Alone in the Dark. Any of you ever play? I played it on the channel at one point, and it's clumsy, it's awkward, but it was spooky in its own odd polygon graphics way. It was fun. I always liked that sort of game. Yes.
The jankiness and awkwardness makes it more spooky.
Yeah. Well, in that it was the sound effects, I think, and they were ahead of their time. But it was an awkward game to play. I have no idea what a tome choker is, Jerry. It's not in the Beam Folio. Oh, I mean, tome choker? I've no idea. I don't remember it from any of the main D&D books. It might have been in some other game. Right. So now we know that Bear doesn't use undead. We can completely ignore his opinions on.
Yes, please do.
We can completely ignore Bear. So
yes, absolutely. Pretend I'm not here. In fact, tonight the part of Daniel will be played by Bear.
Okay,
You'll never be able to drink enough, ever.
So, portraying undead, Saxius, you've already mentioned the idea of foreshadowing the evil. Are undead always evil then?
Well, I know off the top of my head that there's the good lich that exists in the book, but I normally go with the simple equation of when you are given eternal life via the negative energies of necrotic and the negative plane. It doesn't matter what your intentions are. With time, it will be eroded away, which is why the majority of liches and vampires erode down to become very vile individuals. So if you maintain your sentience as an undead, you will become evil. If you are raising the dead for your purpose, you are evil. You are forcing life into something that should be given rest. Or if you're like me, I include the mechanic that you are forcing souls that are dead to return into bodies, but they are random souls who are forced to now endure the pains of being in these bodies.
Okay, so they're not just mindless automatons.
Oh no, they are, because they don't have a choice. You, as the necromancer or whatever you are, have decided to raise them, but you've done it by trapping souls that should be in the afterlife into these bodies. Now, whether it is an elf, dwarf, or the likes, you don't know, but do you really care at that point? You have decided that the rest of the dead is not something to be respected.
And
I think that
your Necro UB40 properly, so that you can account for each of these souls without having to pay extra taxes at the end of the year.
I have yet to encounter a player that actually asked these very critical questions to my games. But see, some players will only go so deep because they're afraid of the rabbit hole that they open.
Evil? Grim says you're evil.
I am so thankful for this.
Vampires are not just grumpy old men, at least not the one that John very much enjoyed playing.
Now, I think it's quite apt that Beans is sat there on Bear's lap because cats have always, the black cat has always had this sort of air of mystery about it. And look at him! Look at this! He's trying to bite it. It's a vampiric cat. A vampiric cat, a cat with sharp teeth. Anyway, I was only really doing a bit of what's the phrase? Bit of devil's advocacy there, because I would agree that there are no good necromancers. I think necromancers can start neutral, and I quite enjoyed portraying one descending from neutrality into depravity, as I think that is like the likely course of action. And I agree with Saxius there that a lifetime of necromancy will push you in the direction of evil. I'm not a big fan. I will throw in the occasional helpful ghost, but even then, I like the idea that the ghost will have an effect on those around it, whether it likes it or not. It can't control the effect it has on the living in terms of fear and that sort of thing, even if it doesn't have the intention of harming the party. And over time, I think that would twist it. But I have had certainly neutral ghosts. Ghosts are just there, existing. Yes?
Well, does the ghost even remember why they are there?
Not always.
No. Because I often ask myself, how long's the ghost been there? So if they've been there for hundreds of years, why do they remember? They don't sleep. They don't tire. They simply are, which means that they stand and watch the same room, maybe with the dust piling up, passing by, unless it's a house, in which case they get to enjoy the ever-changing weather around them. Or even worse, if they just simply, the sun comes up and they fade away, then they come back during the night. They never see the real changes. And over time, I mean, much like effectively dementia, you will just, their minds just erode away. They don't know why they are there. They don't know why they are haunting somewhere, which is one of the key problems for when I introduced them, is that you've got to figure out how to banish them, or you can just get into cleric and just be like, no, can't be bothered. We're just going to forcefully exorcise them from this house. We're not going to do.
I mean, if I'm going to put in a ghost that is not necessarily evil, I do quite like the idea of having the party find some form of, or some manner of putting the ghost to rest.
Okay, you can have it there.
Yeah,
but you can have it there. But then again, if we're talking in the world of D&D, you're going to be having the clerics. Oh god, what's it called? Not the banishments, but turn undead, which is going to be able to banish them out. And if they're strong enough, they can banish them all together. Similarly, they can simply just go out and go like, okay, well, we're just going to start, doing this or that. Or in some players' cases, they'll just burn it all down. They can't haunt what doesn't exist.
Because there is, of course, a famous example in literature of a horde of the undead helping the heroes. Lord of the Rings.
So they were technically, they broke their own oaths and were cursed to, to still be loyal to the last king.
Yeah, but they had broken an oath, but they didn't in the story. They didn't commit evil deeds. They wouldn't go against the heroes. They still had that essence of loyalty. but they were still frightening. Still very
So
frightening.
for you, does it boil down to that when there are undead, they have to be frightening?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you do about that mechanically? Your players will look at things, and I'm speaking from my point of view because these are the people that I run with. They'll look and go, hit points, attack dice, this, done.
I like to describe mechanically. D&D is a difficult one in terms of mechanics. I tend to use the mechanics as written, and the fear of them comes from the sheer fact that they are relentless enemies. But when I've used Undead in Call of Cthulhu, in particular, I tend to give them a purpose. I tend to make them creepy.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. In terms of mechanics, well, we've had domination, sanity, fear. We've had isolation of player characters. We've had intelligent tactics used by the particular entity to isolate, catch people alone, make sure they're at their weakest time. And that's, I like to induce the nerves in the player.
All right. So you rely on the player role playing.
Yeah,
this
I like.
aspect.
I mean, there will be some mechanics in the game, things like the fear and the sanity in Call of Cthulhu, that sort of stuff. But I do like to try and make it something that the player feels.
You and I, we've got very different crowds that we run with because my group's just no. You could give all these descriptions, don't care. See hit points, see this, which is why I try to force them into games such as Warhammer Fantasy, Shadow of the Demon Lords. Whereas, like, I don't care. I am describing this. You, the player, might not be terrified of this, but I'm now going to start docking down on these certain points. Your sanity, your purity, all of these other aspects, so that you now see your character is being whittled away. Because, again, some players, myself included, absolutely, I look at things mechanically and go, I'm not scared. These are words you're telling me. I am looking at the numbers. Do the numbers frighten me? No, they do not. Ergo, let me just get out X, Y, and Z to counter it.
So you get out the big numbers to make them scared.
I get out the mechanics that will wrangle them into being scared. Seeing the numbers as I am dwindling down their characters. Let me use Heroic, for example. One of the characters, when they were going through a rather big fight, started out with 500 karma or 500 luck points. By the end of the encounter I had thrown them into, they went from 500 down to 53 points. He was horrified at how much I was pushing him and his characters because I was not giving in. Do you remember that, Iman?
Yes.
I was not giving the players an absolute inch, and they were sitting there going like, I'm redlining, I'm redlining, I'm redlining. They were burning through their luck. They were burning through their karma. They were afraid because I had them cornered. I had them systematically by their throat, and I was getting ready to string them up, and they knew it.
So we decided to leave.
Yeah, that's indeed the case. But that is how I go about it. You can give the descriptions, absolutely, but I like to back up the bark with a proper bite. Kick them with a level drain. Take away a year's worth of play from them. Let them suffer. Or let them go out and do something so that they can regain all of this one way or the other. Because then that way the players will sit there and go, I am not just scared for my character. I am now also scared because I am going to be losing something rather great.
Right.
I'm not just scared of my character dying. I'm now scared of Oscar and his mental insanity.
So, Bear, is he doing the right thing with Heroic if he's stripping them of 450 karma in one combat?
Listen, karma's meant to flow like water, right?
Yeah. To be honest, though, it comes and it goes. It's like the tides.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be like a haha, gotcha. It's like, no, come on, man. You know, you got karma. You don't look in the Friday night game. They were bragging up that their karma pool was at 1900 karma, and I
Whoa.
made the offhand comment that, yeah, I've never seen a karma pool get to 2000 without someone accidentally killing someone. And then that night, one of them killed a villain.
Oh,
I was like, ah, look at that! Look at that! The truth reigns. You know what I mean? So,
And how much karma are they left with?
so
when they
all
kill
the
somebody?
karma got
none.
wiped.
It goes away.
They
It
lost
all goes
everything.
away.
They lose
Everything.
everything when they kill.
The player lost theirs, and it was what I think it was at 16, 1700s.
1900 was the karma pool.
Oh,
1900
Pool as well. Ouch.
Yep. And delicious. Delicious.
I mean, they deserved it based on what happened.
Oh, I was
Hey.
very kind to them as well, because normally everybody who was a bystander loses like at least half their karma, if not more, because they allowed a killing to happen and they feel bad about it.
I discussed that with you, Oscar, didn't I?
I'll be honest, we've talked about it a lot, so I can't keep up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In passing, I was asking you, okay, so what if I wasn't to kill them myself, but like I just sort of allowed, like, let's say American Icon to kill someone? Yeah, you'd still lose all your karma because you let it happen. Oh, okay, I can't let that happen.
Yeah, but that's also one. Okay, sticking to that. It's one of the reasons why you have to keep Exodus back, because he's probably one of the more murderous people in your group.
Oh, when Obfuscate got shot in the head, I was like, oh my
Either way,
god. Oh no.
we're getting off topic. We need to get back onto the Living Dead.
Sorry.
But that's again, like I said, I like to bring some bites to the bark that I'm giving them, because I want if the players are not just going to be afraid because of the atmosphere, the ambience, the setting, the descriptions. Yes, that's all nice, but again, in D&D, I approach it as a numbers game. That's what it's been dwindled down to me. It's what a lot of my players dwindle it down to. It's like these are mechanics, these are creatures, which is why most of the time I don't see a point in using the monsters out of the book. I will take them, I will twist them, and I will change them, because then it becomes more of a, okay, we need to poke and prod them to learn what do they do.
There is a similarity in a way though with because you're saying that you pretty much make the players nervous of undead by making them powerful, giving them abilities, tweaking those abilities, which basically makes the players unsure, nervous of success. They are risking losing their characters. Now, what the one thing I was doing with the enemy in Call of Cthulhu is I was making him isolate player characters, so they would feel overpowered. There wouldn't be they wouldn't feel to be in a position of power. They couldn't. So again, there is that sense of fragility. There's that sense that this thing is more powerful than us. We could die right now. It induces the same feeling.
Are you still on about Call of Cthulhu for this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
okay. Yeah. Well, so here's why I don't think Call of Cthulhu is good to be bringing into this, because it is by design made for you to die fighting a human with a gun.
Mm.
Like right there, like anything is scary when someone pulls out a revolver and it's like, oh, okay, whoa, let's now talk, because you've now got that level of lethality. It's the same when you start going into OSR, OSE, any of the other games. You are going to be dying relatively quickly if you start getting in over your head. But at least with, again, Call of Cthulhu has got the whole backing of, you've got sanity that is going to be trickling down for your character. So like anything eldritch is always going to have an upper hand against the player characters. At the end of the day, I don't think there are any creatures in the eldritch bestiary which is weaker than the average human.
Not generally, no.
No,
but
like
you can induce that similar sort of effect with a homemade intelligent undead monster, for example, in D&D. Isolate a player character in their tavern room, in their room in the inn, and have the undead being address that character alone at a time when they don't have their sword to hand, they're not wearing their armor, they're just in their night clothes, they've just woken up, and something is kneeling on the end of their bed, wishing to engage with them. But the character doesn't have the upper hand at that time. And it can make for some interesting scenes.
Yeah. Again, if you've got the group for it, absolutely, definitely go for anything like that.
You're saying you couldn't do that with your one group? Would your group would just say, "I hit it straight away"?
Again, the group of the circles that I run some of my other games for, we sit, we theorycraft, and we break things down, and we dismantle, the entire fluff, and we just say what are the mechanics of every single thing. That's what we sit and we do. We munchkin our way through this. That's the crowd I come from. It's why I know you would not like it. You would not like the style that we go through with that.
No, it's not my thing at all. It's not my thing at all.
Well, yeah, but my point, the reason why I bring it up is that it's a counter. Yes, your point is valid, John. What you're saying is, yes, this is what you need to do for making it, bring up the ambience, having the engagement, having the role play, bringing in the immersion. Absolutely. Not all players are like that. So what's the counter for the people who are not like that? What do you do for if you, John, sat with players from my group who would just sit there and go, I don't care, I don't engage. Oh, I know he's now afraid of what's called mirrors. Well, I will now clad myself in mirrors, and it shall be what I look around. My group will be the absolute insane bunch of adventurers that shows up, because adventurers are insane if we break down what they do. And they will show up, they'll gather up what they need, and then they go back out into the wilderness to do whatever the hell what they're planning on doing next. Now, they're not stable members of society, and my players reflect that.
Fair enough. I mean, if they wouldn't want to engage with that sort of thing, then I wouldn't be the right sort of DM for them. I don't.
No, that's
what got another victim.
It's quite simple. Quite simple.
Sorry, what?
You got another victim.
Which one of them?
Brian.
Oh, right.
Doesn't want my games. Wants your games. That's just.
All right. I think you would enjoy it, Brian. The crowd does like to just sit down and go like, okay, like, again, I'm going to go off topic about this, because like some of us just go like, oh, okay, let's talk about the logistics of actually maintaining a fort and do the supply lines in here. And how do we need to make alliances with various goblin tribes so that we don't get harassed and overstretch ourselves? Like that's the kind of bonkers things that we find fun.
I'm just going to mention Jerry's remembered which monster it was that he was thinking about. The choker thing, the coffer corpse. They're a perfect example of making something look like a zombie, but it's not. Ha! Surprise! But it gets back up again because it requires magical weapons to actually harm it. But it looks like it's being harmed by normal weapons, but then it gets back up again afterwards. They are quite nasty. And King Eric asked, how do we roleplay Death Knights? I don't know. I never have.
Oscar?
No. Death Knight from our heroic game is not how I do Death Knights. Death Knights are a force of fucking nature. There's a reason why Lord Soth is the Death Knight. If you've ever read his single-minded determination, when you have a character upon arriving in Barovia and you've got Strahd immediately going, bam, that guy, I need to get rid of him, but I cannot fight him head on. When you have got Strahd immediately thinking of plan A, B, C, and D for getting rid of you, that is a Death Knight. When you cast 20d6 worth of damage, 10d6 worth of fireball, 10d6 of necrotic points of damage as a natural ability, when your fighting prowess is at the point where your immediate weapon that you have, and as a DM you have to roll to see how magical it is, that is a Death Knight. You are not just anyone. You are a named character. You are a main character when you bring out a Death Knight. They are not something you just toss in there because it's room 20A needs something in there. No, that is a story. That is an arch enemy. That's a nemesis rising up. That is a story arc. How do you roleplay them? You roleplay them like they are meant to be something. You do not underestimate them. You play them strong. You play them clever. They have liches at their beck and call. If you want to know what kind of dealings you're dealing with here. Okay? Death Knights is where it's at. That's why they're awesome. It's why Lord Soth is up there with Strahd, and he's carved himself in there. Why? Because he just does not give a fuck.
This is why the Fiend Folio was such a good book, because there is the original Death Knight artwork.
Again, just go on Google, look up Lord Soth, Soth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
He originated in the Dragonlance world, I believe.
He is from the Dragonlance world of Kryn. Effectively rejected his gods, turned his own order against him, basically went, I do not care. I will do it all again.
He caused the cataclysm.
He did cause the cataclysm, and he did not care. He was given the chance to repent. He just went, nah, I'm good.
Coffer Corpse gets knocked down, gets up again. Ain't never going to keep it down.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh. So, question though, Sax, that Death Knight from Heroic, is that sort of what it would look like?
In terms of aesthetics, yes, that is what a Death Knight looks like. Absolutely.
Because that fucking looks terrifying as hell.
They should be. Again, if we're talking D&D, they are entity of their own, and they should be feared. Like, that is not something you throw out. It's the same with why I don't normally recommend. I mean, if you're going to be bringing in vampires, I take inspiration from Vampire the Masquerade, where you've got the different tiers of vampires. Anywhere from the vampiric lords. I mean, heck. Jeez, where is it now?
From Wikipedia, Iman, this is Lord Soth. It's not a very big picture, unfortunately.
Yeah. Man, the myth, the absolute legend himself.
Right.
Yep.
So is he like the Knights?
He's the OG Death Knight. Like, he is. There's a very deep lore, like story and lore behind that character, but like that's the one everyone points at and goes, "You want to see what a Death Knight is like? Look at him." So like, yeah, I can go on a tangent about him, but that's not the point here. I'm trying to find where it is.
You're getting so erect just even thinking about it. Am I right?
I mean, he is one of these things where it is genuinely like you can definitely go into like what he can do and just find his capabilities, and it's just awesome. It's terrifying. Where the heck? Here we go, Vampiric. So again, Van Richten's books would absolutely recommend. I mean, they've even got the breakdown of these into small magazine-like styles. And I would absolutely recommend get as many of them as you can, first and foremost. Just full stop, do that. But get the one for vampires and get the one for the created, because that includes the zombies. Because there's nothing more interesting than turning around saying, hey, it's zombies, but it's 28 days later zombies. They can dead sprint at you.
Yep. Yeah.
They can run up at you full on and attack at the same time. Have fun, kids. Do that, and I'll put that in D&D. Now you've changed the game. You want to go even further with this? But why not introduce Left 4 Dead? Why not have zombies that just run up there? There we go. Here we go. The gamer is now involved. So you've now got zombies that comes up, and they can now shoot out a frog-like tongue that will not only capture one of your players, but now will drag them back. Now you ask yourself, what kind of rules do I do with that? Well, you just open up the man-catcher rules. They've got a -4 strength roll for you to get out of that. Go fuck yourself. You're a dead player. And then you start dragging them into the horde that will just rip them apart. You want to have the Hulk just use the stats for the ogre and just have the barrel in there. There's no more morale roll for this. Just keep on pounding at them until they're dead. Why? Because them players need to die. And wait, what's that I hear? Is that weeping off in the distance in the cold, dark woods?
Oh no!
It's just what they refer to as a witch, or well, a screamer. Well, give this thing the ability to not only attack you, give it poison, give it high speed, multiple attacks, and remember the beautiful words as our Lord and Savior Bear just said, claw, claw, bite. Why not? We just need to... Do you want the honest answer? Do you want to know the...
What did this fucking player do to you to bring you to here, man?
This is fun, though. You start finding these little supplements where you can take something that already exists and they go like, by the way, do you want more? Do you want it to be worse? Would you like to introduce things in? Well, here's how you go about it. You want to go off into some of the other games like The World's Ending or All Flesh Must Be Eaten? Well, here you go. Now you've got more things that you can start introducing into your players just to make it a bit more, horrifying. When zombies aren't enough, you just make them scary. You introduce things to make it scary, where they have to be tactical, where they have to be afraid, and ideally just avoid the goddamn zombies, because it's not the numbers you should be afraid of, it's the unique ones, because they will catch you, and they will drag you in, and then before you know it, your friends are the ones that are chasing you down. Zombie fight, of course. Sorry, a bit excited about these things, as you can see.
Clearly.
You are compensating tonight for Bear's lack of excitement about the topic.
That's all right.
Listen, what happened to we're just going to ignore Bear? What happened to that? That seemed like a very good plan, and now you're going back on it. Why?
It's bear poking.
Yes, stupid move, Brit. Leave it alone, you palm.
Right. One thing that playing a number of RPGs you tend to notice is that there seems to be some sort of hierarchy that has formed within role-playing regarding the undead. The poor measly skeleton is always the fodder at the bottom. Always. Then you get the stupid, mindless, shuffling zombie. About as useful as a skeleton, apart from the fact it's a bit more resilient. But then you get to ghouls. And ghouls, for me, are where undead start to get interesting. I like the idea that a ghoul was a human, tainted by the consumption of human flesh.
Oh, is that what they are?
Yes.
Not necessarily.
Certainly, there have been a number of called Cthulhu adventures where that is the case. That is how the ghoul has come to be. They're not always out to get the adventurers. They normally just exist. But they exist beneath the city, out of the sight of those that live above, living on scraps from the graveyard. And what they do, they don't actively go out and murder people, but their existence is a pitiful and horrific and really unsavory one. But ghouls can have a semblance of intelligence. And there's been certain moments in adventures where players have had to work with a ghoul. And I like that. And I think Saxius would like winning that sort of thing as well.
What, where players have to work with the ghoul?
Yes, a sentient ghoul, properly sentient ghoul. A
Is
ghoul
this
that
still...
really knows what he wants, knows what he's there for, knows the horror and mistrust that he'll receive from the world above. But
why am I thinking of an adventure that's based in Boston, where you've got to find kidnapped women? Is that the one you're on about?
No.
Okay, that's another one. That's the one that I like to run.
What I'm trying to say is I like ghouls. I think ghouls have a lot of flavour to them. Pun was intended. And I think they're the first point at which undead become properly scary, because they've always had some form of power that makes the players helpless. And they're not a foe to be taken lightly.
Power that makes
at any
them
level.
scary, or is it the sentience?
Oh no, it's in D&D. It's absolutely power, because when they come up at you in D&D, so they've got 2 attacks against you. Or is it like claw bite? Either way, you have to do a paralysis roll, because basically they've got the dirt on the so much terrible grime underneath their nails that when they actually hit you, if you fail your paralysis, you are now frozen in place, which means that while you are frozen, they eat you while you are alive, meaning you now stand there and they will automatically hit every time. You will get 2 or 3 attacks against you immediately. So we are looking at 2d4 plus 1d6 worth of damage per round, per ghoul, and they go for whichever one is the least likeliest to fight back, or whichever one's stuck there. So whoever's closest, they usually gang up against you. Have 3 or 4 of them at you. At level. Go on.
In D&D, they're driven by hunger. So they will paralyze a party member, remove that party member, and consume that party member, while that party member is paralyzed and can thus feel what's happening. How many DMs play them properly, though? How many DMs will make them will do that? I mean, it's in the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide. The example of play has one of the party is just dragged away to be eaten by ghouls off scene, off screen. It's there in black and white. DMs do this. I never found many DMs actually doing that, though, which is a real shame. It's a real shame.
Have you done it?
I've had them begin to feast on a character, and which then causes the other party members to intervene, and it causes panic. That's the idea. Yeah.
I can't remember if they're intelligent enough to actually start thinking about dragging them away, because they usually just begin eating right there and then. But I've done it. I've been quite happy about it. Gotta love it when the players are like, aha, we'll go ghoul hunting. Oh no, paralyzed. Oh no.
If they're even semi-intelligent, I think they probably would do. I mean, animals will drag food away to consume in private. The more intelligent animals will. Dogs, wolves, big cats. Leopards will store their food up a tree. So, yeah, there's every reason a ghoul could do that sort of thing. I think they're great.
Teenagers.
Teenagers.
I would argue that the average teenager does not possess that level of intelligence. They'll just stand in front of the fridge and go, I hate you. Piss off, Dad.
Speaking from experience there, mate.
Yeah. So next step up from ghouls.
Yes.
No, they're a further step up.
I know you said ghasts, but I heard gas. I'm like, well,
Yes.
We're back in the trenches.
Yes. Shadows. So they're another one I like. You can throw them at low-level adventurers at a time when the party are still weak, at a time when the players will still feel the fear because their characters are fragile. And shadows are beautiful for causing horror amongst the players, because they drain the strength of the strong of those that stand against them. They sap their strength. Love them. So you're learning all these things, Iman. These creatures do.
Yeah,
I'm retaining a bit more every time.
Oh yeah, but it's also depending on again which edition you use and how they interpret the strength drain, level drain, and the likes.
Mm-hmm.
because you'll find that first edition, second edition are going to be a bit more harsher when they say like, okay, you've now permanently lost strength, and now that's it, tough, or you've lost. I think I've read somewhere. I don't know if it was house rule, but someone said the shadow drains your strength. You now have to banish the shadow to get back your strength, which encourages the players to then come back and defeat them, because then they would have to do that in order to gain back what they have lost.
That's fair.
That's the house rule I brought in to make whites
There we are.
more brutal in 5e when I was still running 5e. That's to bring back the idea that level drain was at least partially there.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to take out the being that had drained you in order to get back what it had taken. And I think yes, that could pass on to shadows quite well.
Oh, definitely
makes sense.
Absolutely. Do I use the? Yes, I would use the rule that elves are immune to ghoul paralysis, but then I also have been known in my games to have orcs and hobgoblins particularly prize elf flesh, so it sort of balances out. Yes. Anyway, so you'll have somebody who dislikes you. You'll have somebody who dislikes you. So shadows. I'll always remember the first time I ever fought a shadow in D&D. Lost City.
What, of Sojkanth?
No, the Lost City.
No, I have no idea.
No, you don't. Yeah, see, you don't know all these things. But no, the Lost City was the first time I remember encountering shadows when I was about 12 years old, and they scared the life out of me. They did what they should do.
Level drain sucks.
No, it doesn't. It's awesome.
Depends.
Level drain and ability drain are the greatest fucking things ever. And the only people who think they suck are players.
Yeah, exactly.
GMs understand
GM,
brilliant.
That's how you take care of your players are overpowered. Level drain them a couple times.
Oh yeah.
It happened to me. I had a ranger. We went from 12th down to 8th twice. That'll put you in your place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you've got a party of overconfident adventurers, have them surrounded by a pack of whites.
Yep.
And if there's 5 or 6 whites, all one of those whites has got to do is score a hit.
And what really sucks about that is you instantly, not only do you take the damage, you lose your hit points for that level. You lose all your abilities. So if you lose 3 or 4 level in one encounter, that's devastating.
Absolutely.
You just got put back into the Stony.
Yeah. So, and it serves the purpose. Once again, we've got ghouls that paralyze, shadows that drain strength, and the white, the lowest powered undead, that drains life force. And this is what undead need to do. They need to put the shits up the players, because undead should be feared. And here we are. Saxus was talking about mechanics that scare the players. These are mechanics that scare the players.
Oh yeah.
Paralysis, strength drain, level drain. They're already in there. They should serve that purpose.
So much they had to change it once we got into 3rd edition and onwards.
And I bet you were salty about that.
Me? No. I can work within the rules that were set up.
I'm not going to get into why they had to change it. But I'm just saying. Gen X, we had level drain. We had stat drain. We had save or die. And we liked it. And we played the game.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Yep.
Just say it.
And look at us all here now. Normal, well-adjusted. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm highly well adjusted. You can only speak for yourself.
I'm well adjusted.
You're a
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
poster boy for Maladjusted. What are you talking about?
I'm well adjusted to smoking a shit ton of
Shut
weed.
up, millennial. No one cares what millennials have to say about anything. You're
It's
the
funny
whiny
because
bitches that made everything wrong.
Bullshit. I disagree. It's the people born the year after.
Yeah.
it's funny because I'm one of them. So
No, you're born the 2 years before.
what?
Oh, you're
I'm a
talking to
millennial.
Bear, sorry.
I am also a millennial.
What year were you
Yeah.
born in this, Sax?
92.
Yeah, 1892, right?
No, 1992.
No. You channel that 1892 energy, sir.
1892. I don't even get like.
This is how it works. You go to the woods. You cut the tree. If the tree falls on you and kills you, so be it. You're dead. Go to the woods. Like, that's the energy you give. Do you understand?
Not really, but sure.
You're entirely unsympathetic to the suffering of humanity.
I mean, I can imagine back in the 1820s, 1830s, Saxius out actively employing small boys as chimney sweeps just for the shits and giggles.
No, I could see Saxius creating a guild of boys cleaning chimneys, paying dues and having to follow very intricate rules of guild membership to be able to do it, including an established hierarchy, just for the shits and giggles.
That sounds like fun. That genuinely,
1892 energy, I'm saying.
that is genuinely sounds like fun.
Yes. So whites, Saxius. Your opinion of whites?
That
Ooh, that's a scary
that
thing.
is a topic I usually don't touch with a 10-foot pole, given I'm a member of them.
Yeah, I think it's best to break out of this conversation, John, if that's all right with you. Oh, did you mean Wiggett?
Come on, man, you like that?
That was great.
That was
I
fun.
I was like, why is no one answering the question? Well, do you want to know my opinion on you all?
So, Brian, fun thing. I have seen the history pictures of what spreadsheets look like back in the day. Oh my god, I would have had a field day because there was just massive rooms of just long sheets of paper you had to go down with a ruler.
Bless you.
Right. Let me just remind myself of the wonderful, monstrous creatures known as the whites.
Yes. We do have an entire isle of them over here, and that's exactly where they should be
Yes,
kept,
we do.
on an island away from everybody else.
Let me just get this.
It's
up
all right.
here.
Let them get level drained.
All right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, whites, happy days. It's what are we looking for?
Best
Beyond that.
ways you've ever what you like about them? Best ways you've ever seen them used.
Oh, Christ. I'm trying to. I know I had whites appear in my second edition campaign, but my players opted to just say no, thank you, and go away because So here's the thing for my second edition game. I told them because it was observed after about 2 years. Yeah, well, it's all right. Anyway, so
you'll get me struck off.
I've had enough of this guy.
What the actual fuck just happened?
He pulled out a gun.
I saw that, but I was looking the other way and all I heard was "Bob!" And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I said, Daniel with a gun. Wow, that sounds like a regular Saturday night wherever Daniel lives, isn't it? We heard a noise, we looked, and there's Daniel with a gun.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all good.
If I had hair, it'd be grey by now.
Yeah. Well, no, I like whites. They appear every so often, and it's usually somewhere where it's like, okay, here's a crypt. There's delicious things down there. Would you like to go down there and find the said delicious? treasure. Most players just seem to go, no, thank you very much. We know how you roll with these things. But when I really want the players that, because I run things by the rules, meaning I roll the hit dice of the monsters, but I usually roll below average. I go to my wife, I give her the dice. She always rolls above average. So when I really want players dead in my D&D game, I get my wife to roll all the things I need, and I just run them tactically thereafter. I will just have them pounce out from the shadows and just run with the players like, hello, give me a hug. Let me get some energy from you. Let me take all those levels. I even had some players suggest we'll just get a mob of peasants and run them down. There's like, that's great. The delicious thing about when you energy drain a white is that you can generate more of them. They can just spiral out of control. Yeah. Yes, they will be weaker.
Same as shadows.
So, yeah, it's great. And I encourage my players to do anything like that because they create a problem. And anything that creates a problem is joy for me. I don't mind destroying the civilization that they're nearby. I've done it before. I do it all the time in my campaigns. I just go, hey, world discarded. Let's move over to the next one.
One of my favorite traps, and I'm not going to, I mean, some of you may have encountered this one before, but there's a certain adventure that in a certain part of the adventure, there's a load of sarcophagi. Sarcophagus is, well, whatever the plural is. And there's a lot of them that contain whites. And if a player, and there's teleport traps. And if a player characters walk onto certain areas, they get teleported into the sarcophagus, and the white that's in it gets teleported out.
What one was had it in?
Oh, and there's a few of them around, and there's quite a lot of whites in there. Yeah. And they can have a situation where there's a lot of whites outside the sarcophagi, and there's a lot of player characters stuck inside them, unable to get out without help. And they'll get help to get out from the whites.
Wait. So they get moved into the sarcophagus, and the white leaves?
The white is teleported out.
So is that technically white flight?
Yeah.
You're on a very good roll. That's a very good roll.
But no,
I should go. I have nothing to contribute to this conversation, to be honest. So I'm going to go. It's okay, guys. You should has something to say.
You're taking flight, are you?
Yeah, I gotta go, man. Like this is like I have nothing to add to this conversation. I feel bad that I'm just sitting here, bobbing my head along. And when I do say something, it's just to take a shot. So I'm going to bounce. Next time I'm going to pay more attention to what the subject is and see if you actually put show notes so that way I'll know whether or not I should show up for it.
Okay. Cheers,
Bear. Andy, Halakar, when do you guys get in here? Talk your D&D craziness. Both of you got room for more. Anyway.
I have. Yes, I have.
Try you next week, man. See you later.
Bye. Yeah, see ya. Bye. Yeah, I mean, people can join us. I'm going to put this out again. Right, this is a good time, actually, to mention Friday. We'll try again.
I am sorry. I thought that was the episode I was not allowed to watch. That's why I didn't even log on.
Oh no, that was Saturday. That was Friday. You'd clicked on interested. You're interested in the event for the game that I was running online.
Yeah,
and I was pinging you on Discord, Daniel.
Yeah.
Oh well. But we're going to try again this Friday. I'm going to try run.
I'll be there.
Okay. Well, at the moment, Saxy, so you running your game this Friday?
Yep. For the foreseeable future, I'm still running every Friday my heroic game.
So why has Iman clicked that he's interested in my game?
Don't know.
We discussed that.
Andy did click on that he was interested, but he's disappeared from my Discord thing. So I don't know if he is still interested or not.
I don't know. I mean,
But no, he's talking about his character, so maybe he is still interested. I noticed he has sent me a message with his character on it. So hopefully he's still available. So at the moment we have Daniel, Andy, and Nosorian. It is open for at least 2 more players to join, should you wish. So if anybody is watching at the moment who wishes to play a live game of Call of Cthulhu this Friday on my channel, we start at 9 o'clock my time. That's 4 o'clock your time, Daniel. Will you be home by then?
Sober.
You'll still be sober. Okay. And it is a gaslight scenario. So Victorian era, late Victorian era, 1890s, set in the London area. Hello, Slan. How are you doing? So if anyone wants to play, you're more than welcome. That's Friday, but there is a link if you want to join our discussion regarding Undead on tonight's stream. I've put the link in the chat. If I know your name, you'll be allowed in. If you're randomer whose name I don't know,
if not, Goff.
If not, Goff. Yeah. If you're some randomer whose name I don't know, yeah, you ain't coming in. Oh, speaking of randomers, there is some randomer who's just logged in.
Oh,
do we know this guy? I mean, oh, it's scary. Oh,
my eyes.
Who the heck is that?
Halakar, you've been watching the stream. What's your favorite undead?
Cousin It.
Jesus.
Cousin It.
Hold on. I got 2 audios going here. Let me shut one of them off.
All right.
Yeah, shut the stream off.
Okay. My favorite undead. I've always been partial to wraiths.
Is that because of their general sort of ambiance? The fact that they're spookier than whites?
Yeah. And when I was much younger and I got the Chronomancer book when it very first hit the stand, I made a Chrono Wraith, which was an undead, but instead of draining levels, it unnaturally aged you every time it hit, and it could bump you into the future 1 to 6 minutes, randomly determined each time it hit you. So it would hit somebody in the party and they would just disappear. And then they would pop back up after a certain amount of time. So if battle was going against it, it could just basically pop everybody out and take off. And when you all reassembled, it was gone.
Huh.
But
clever. with the unnatural aging, you got all the negative effects of getting older, like, losing your mental faculties and all that kind of stuff, but you hadn't actually spent that time working and doing regular, normal everyday living, so you didn't gain the increases in strength or constitution or dexterity. So all you got was the negative effects from the aging.
Of course, though, if you reach sort of the age of 50 odd and you get that tinge of silver in your hair, isn't that peak age for what ladies like in men?
Not that I found.
No, we haven't got that silver tinge and those rugged sort of George Clooney looks or whatever, have we? If
I let it grow, I look a lot more like Santa Claus than I do like somebody from the Munsters. But
yeah. But yeah, aging effects come into play, and that's why it makes ghosts in AD&D so terrifying.
Yeah,
because they can age you in an instant, and this is I do like the idea. I have done this not that long ago, where there was a very neutral, almost benevolent ghost who wasn't aware that he was making the player characters run away and age and things like that. He wasn't aware of the fact. He was just glad to have some company. He didn't want them to go.
It might have been in a Dragon magazine or a non-TSR publication, but there's something that I read. There's a lich that runs a school and doesn't realize it's a lich. So whenever the students are misbehaving and he smacks them, he hits them for 1 to 10 points of damage.
I mean, if it was a vampire that ran the school, it would drain their life levels.
Well, the Lich is good. He's good aligned. He just doesn't realize he's an undead.
I mean, I have tweaked liches before. I made a clerical.
I grabbed my stack of Von Richten's guides just in case we need them.
Oh, you got all of them.
I'm
Those
missing
are good
things.
books. Yeah, I like them.
Zaxby's has got his as well.
And I've got the Lich book was RR6, but they also put out an RS1 that was the same thing. I have RS1. I don't know if RR6 has anything different in it or not.
Good question. I've just got the compendiums, but I know that they've got the ancient deads and liches and the likes, which is I think it's more or less the same.
I like those because they have so many different flavors of
yeah.
things.
Yeah, that's the same one that I mentioned when I was talking about the zombies. Is that you can take them and then make 28 days later zombies. You can adjust them and do all of these things, which it means that you can take this stock standard creature and then make them completely different. I mean, one of the things I did when I ran my 5th edition Curse of Strahd was I actually gave a copy of the Van Richten's Guide to Vampires to the players, and we only played once a month. So it was given to one of the players. She read the entire thing, and I gave PDF copies as well to everyone else so they could read them at their own time. Only one player read the book, but they then came back and went like, okay, this is what Strahd is actually like. This is the power level we're dealing with. We should be terrified because it's not a vampire. It's an ancient vampire. He's scary.
I've got one Van Richten's Guide, and I don't
know
what it is.
Did any of you watch the old show Kolchak the Night Stalker? I mentioned this in the comments earlier. Each week, this guy he's a reporter for a newspaper, and weird things will happen. So he'll investigate. Well, hi, Kitty.
Yeah.
He will investigate, and there's one time he runs afoul of a zombie.
Yeah.
And this zombie, when it kills people, it will lift them up off the ground over its head and crush their spine. It just kills through its brute strength.
Yeah.
And obviously normal, he gets shot by a bunch of gangsters and doesn't kill it and stuff. So he does research on it. And the only way you can kill this zombie is you have to have some kind of special candles lit around it. You fill its mouth with salt and then sew it shut with like horse's hair. And that's the only way to stop this zombie. I mean, no physical. I mean, he didn't try to burn the thing, but every type of physical damage that had been used against it just did nothing.
Yeah, well, it's the same. So there was a movie that came out, I think it was last year or the year before, Renfield, where it's basically Nicolas Cage as. That. Yeah, no, I absolutely recommend it. Nicolas Cage as Count Dracula.
Yeah,
listen, he could walk in and just be himself. I loved it. It was fantastic. But one of the discussions that was had in that movie was how do you actually kill Dracula, because he just regenerates. He endures things where you're just like, what? How do you do it? And it was then revealed that pretty early on in the movie that the last person that was ever able to properly kill him, the last mage of the world, was killed by Dracula in the last-ditch attempt to destroy him. So at the end of the movie, they're like, well, we don't know how to properly destroy him, so we're just going to do what players would do. And we're going to just slice and dice him, churn him up, and just mix his body in with cement, and just scatter them in all directions and throw it into the sewer, into the ocean, just all of these like absolute insane things. But you look at it and go like, this is player logic. This is what I would expect if I was playing Vigil or the Vampire Hunters from Vampire the Masquerade. You don't know how to kill this vampire, and the sun clearly hasn't done much work. So you know what? We're just going to do the most extreme thing we can. Just cut him up into every little piece and just ship him over into every corner of the world. he will probably regenerate, but it's going to take him at least a few hundred years, so we're safe.
King Eric wants to see an undead.
Ashes into acid and
Yeah,
get
exactly.
residue.
King Eric wants to see an undead Viking warrior. I think that would be quite scary. Imagine a Viking undead horde coming
Well,
at
it depends. So there are, if anyone here has played Skyrim, what's referred to as Draugrs. Effectively, those are Viking warriors.
I heard Skyrim.
Yeah, no, you're right, Draugrs. So Draugrs are based on the Viking mythology that when a Viking dies, you have to carry him out because you have a small chance. So the way it works in Viking mythology is when you die, if you don't die in battle, you go to hell, effectively. So that's why you usually have to die with a weapon in your hand. So you've got a 50-50 chance of going up to Valhalla. Wonderful religion. You die, you got a 50% chance of going to heaven. That's assuming there's enough Valkyries to catch you. Anyway, but when you basically are taken out of your house, it was believed that a Draugr or a dead warrior might sneak a peek of his home, and then he will return from the grave to return home, usually to murder everyone to take them with him to the grave. So that's why you had to carry them feet first out of the house so that he didn't see where he lived, so that he would only see the door leading out. So Draugrs were the ones where the people forgot to do this tradition, and he was allowed to. He went head first out the door, and he was able to peek back into his home. So he would come back, unable to be killed, slaughter his entire family, and drag them all back into his new home, his new longhouse. So that's what
Draugrs are in Lord of the Rings Online. I remember them.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered where they'd originally come from, but I knew they were the original inspiration for the word drow, I believe. The name drow, anyway.
Right, fair enough.
I've heard people pronounce Draugr as Draugr.
Yeah, but it's the same. Like it's depending on how you pronounce it. Like Duragar, the dark dwarves of the Underdark. You can either pronounce them as Duragar or Dwergar, depending on how you do your pronunciation.
In the one of the Greyhawk expansions, they have undead warriors. They're like 9th level warriors, and I don't remember what the circumstances are and how they became what they are, but that would be something that you could probably easily convert to a dead Viking. Easily.
But even then, like, I mean, you can take and reskin other things. Like you can take helmed horrors and just give them basically make them living sentient war machines. Like that would be quite terrifying if you're facing someone where they've got all the benefits of being undead. They have the armament of a helmed horror, magical armor, magical weapons, the capabilities of thinking for themselves. They've got missions, objectives. That's terrifying because you can't just cast any of your mind control attacks against them because they're not really there. They're immune to these sort of things. So it means that fighting the undead comes with its own problems, but it also comes with some other benefits, like again, weakness to divine powers. Unless you are one of my players who forget that the undead are healed with negative energy and start casting like decaying touch against them. It's like, oh, you're now healing them.
That's the nightmare scenario for an illusionist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because they don't care. They don't care. I'm casting an illusion. They're so low intelligent, they just walk through it. Absolutely glorious. Well,
Turning salmon and living forever. I guess I'm not familiar with that one, Serapis.
So let's continue up the hierarchy of undead. So after the white, the next one up tended to, in power really to be the Ghast, which were just really more intelligent, higher powered ghouls. Which
I would
smells
like a list of the hierarchy at the end, please.
You like a list of the hierarchy?
Look at the clerical turning table. Start at skeletons on one end and go all the way up to liches at the other, and that's your hierarchy.
Yeah, I'll pop one on screen for you.
What was that? Clerical turning table.
Yeah.
Yep. From the Dungeon Master Guide.
Sure,
But that
it's
doesn't
a cleric
take into
who
account
knows how to
everything that came out
DJ.
in the Fiend Folio and Monster Manual 2 and all that stuff.
Yes, Iman. He is dropping divine tunes to bust out moves and turn those disco tables.
I knew the DJ would appreciate that.
Thank you.
Or the former DJ.
Yep.
I'm just looking for a picture of the cleric turning table.
My group next weekend when we get together will have the opportunity to, depending on what choices they make, run into a pack of ghouls with 2 ghasts as their leaders, who will hire them if they seem to be of the appropriate alignment.
Here we have the original AD&D table. I'm just going to make sure the correct picture is on screen. Oh, come on. There we are. I found this one. There we go. This is specifically for the young fellow who is currently lurking off screen. Found it on some blog somewhere. There you go.
Let's have a little look.
All right, I have to say one thing really quick. So I stepped off screen, but my daughter won the district thing for her debate club.
Oh,
So
right.
Nice. Awesome.
Well
so
done.
That's why I had to step off screen. We're planning because now my stepson gets married in a week and a half. On the same day, she now gets to go to States, which is down in Penn State University. So we're trying
How
to figure out
scary!
how to
We're
get.
talking about things that are scary on this stream tonight, and the idea of
My daughter debating is scary.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Anyhow,
that is a scary thing. Having a daughter who can out argue you. Yeah, that is frightening. So well done to her.
Yeah,
Well done to her.
right, mommy.
So this on screen at the moment is the original AD&D order of undead. So you've got skeleton. For Iman's benefit, the clerics will roll a d20, and the number you see is the number on a d20 you've got to get or above to turn the vet to effectively turn the undead,
right,
to force it away from you. So a first level cleric will turn skeletons on a 10 or higher.
So a first level cleric can't turn anything above a white.
No, he needs a 20 to turn a white.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm understanding it.
Yep. But if you look from level 4 and above, there's a T next to skeleton and zombie. That means the cleric can automatically turn them, and a D is destroy them. So you get the idea of the cleric, sort of a powerful cleric swathed in light from their deity, destroying swathes of undead in front of them. This is sort of mimics it here.
Is that automatic, or is that a choice? Can you still turn them if you wanted to?
You have to choose to turn them. You have to spend your round turning.
John,
yeah,
can you bring up the table for Beckme?
The Beckme table. Okay, I will have a look for
Iman,
you.
and also, if you're an evil cleric and make that chance, you can actually control them and make them your minions.
If you're evil,
yes, evil clerics can control undead. Yes,
yeah,
and
you can,
and they can turn paladins.
What's the difference between that and turn undead?
So if you are an evil cleric, you can do what's called rebuke undead. So effectively, you use your willpower, your divinity, your control to basically take away these undead creatures are being controlled by someone else. You force your will upon them, and now they serve you. Meaning, rather than just turning around, going like, "Oh no, run away," they now go like, "Yes, master, yes," and then you can use them to fight against other people. So you effectively dominate them, which is a lovely thing, and it's led to some interesting situations when I've had mixed alignments, because they'll be like, "Oh, we've got a cleric. Oh, he's not turning the undead; he's rebuking them. Oh dear, oh dear." He's like, "Don't worry, guys. I will still heal you. You just need to say a few prayers to my god." It's like, which one? Oh, don't worry about it.
If you watch Z Nation, an evil cleric can be the Murphy.
Is that a zombie film?
It's a zombie TV series.
Okay.
It ran 5 seasons and wrapped up. I just stumbled across it. I remember hearing about it before, but never watched it. So I've been watching like 3 episodes a night. I'm almost through season 2 now. It's humorous, but it's decent.
I'm struggling to find a decent image of the basic D&D / Beck Me one.
I can find one, but I don't know how to post them. Sorry.
You'd think if I typed in Beck Me cleric turn undead table, it would give me the right thing. But no. Keep talking amongst yourselves.
Well, no,
Don't worry about me.
well, my thing, they changed the turning difficulty. Your turn undead and back me is a lot more powerful.
I mean, clerics get the short end of the stick in basic D&D because they can't much fewer spells, and they can't cast spells.
No
spell at first level. So that is counteracted by the fact that it is slightly easier to turn undead and it's slightly more powerful, but only slightly. I mean, you roll 2d6 in Beckme, so you need a 7 or above, which is slightly better odds of rolling 10 or higher on a d20.
Yeah, but see, Angus at 5th level can destroy, whereas you have to be 6th in advanced to destroy.
You had to be 4th level or above, I believe, in OSE / basic D&D to be able to just start destroying skeletons, and you can destroy zombies. It's strictly based on hit dice in OSE and Beckme. It's based on the hit dice of the creature you're up against. Yeah. So that's the way it doesn't classify skeleton, zombie, ghoul, as far as I know. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on.
Yeah, they start at the lowest hit die and move up. Yeah.
Now, when you started getting into the other books, I liked a lot of the undead that came out in Fiend Folio and Monster Manual 2.
Yes.
But then I think they started getting a little ridiculous. The Undead Beholders and the Dracolich and all that. It's like,
yeah.
I think
my players are really high level, and I have to come up with something that's tough for them to fight. Well, you could make a good tribe of ogres do just as much.
We've already had a chat about Death Knights. They're in the Fiend Folio. Crypt Things, they're in the Fiend Folio. Coffer Corpses, Fiend Folio again. Sons of Cuse, Fiend Folio again. I think the Fiend Folio was the king of books for
Finangolin, the
Asian I've been thinking of that. That was pretty nasty.
Frog God Games have got some top tier stuff, and I need to find who it was again who's done. But there's some of them who's come out third party with some amazing book of horrors where you just find undead monstrosities, like a swarm of skeletons, not humanoid skeletons. Think of it like rats, cats, and the like, just amalgamated together in this sea of undead creatures that just barrel down upon you. There were some really delicious undead creatures from 3rd edition where you've basically got a skeleton, but you've then got effectively it's like a tapeworm inside of it, and it's got these making up its inside organs, running down along, or not either down along its arms or coming out its back, and it's got effectively like Dr. Octavius or Dr. Octopus, multiple attacks with these leech-like creatures just attacking at you. Really, really nice.
In my campaign, one of the first things my players ran into, there were several villagers that were killed in the flood. Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't realize that there were these giant amoebas or amoeba-like creatures living in the bottom of the lake that when the dam collapsed, washed out. Well, the amoebas just, coated these bodies and they don't have them digested yet, but mm-hmm. since they now have a skeleton inside their, amoeba body, they can use it to walk and ambulate. So the first creatures they ran into were 3 villagers that they knew that were partially digested that started walking up out of the riverbed. And, they had no idea what was going on. It was because these amoebas had taken them over.
Iman, this is a Penanggalan. I believe these are creatures from Far Eastern mythology, Indonesian or something like that. Are they Malaysian, Indonesian, something like that?
Okay.
And they're basically a female vampire-like creature. At night, the head detaches from the body with all the innards dangling from the head still attached, and it flies through the night, biting people. So those are normal. Dangling below her there are her innards, her entrails.
They seem quite tidy.
Yeah, they're not dripping near as much as they should be.
But
that's why everybody I know has colored that picture in the book.
I think. I mean, it's a picture I like. I do. I think he's got the horror in it. Does the horror really well in her face. The madness.
Yes.
I like Russ Nicholson. I like his art style.
Isn't he the guy that does the art for A Fight in Fantasy?
He did the first few books.
Because it looks like it's in that style.
Yes.
Well,
he did the first few books.
Yeah.
He also did the. I mean, I did wave it on screen, but one of my favourite pieces of art from the Fiend Folio is Russ Nicholson's Crypt Thing, which is, if I get this up. It's this piece of art which I absolutely love. That's Russ Nicholson as well. That's a Crypt Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I do need to just clarify what I do with them is my own little amalgamation. Rules as written, they simply just walk around, point at people, and teleport them around, which is still delicious. You can absolutely, have people disappear around. You can teleport them into, walls. But you can still teleport them, above chasms or, up or several floors below. They don't need to be in the same floor level. You can put them like 2 floors below and let them deal with that.
And I'm just going to find Russ's image of...
Here's a colored in one. I bought this book and somebody had already gotten to it.
Russ Nicholson. I'm trying to find his Revenant picture from the Fiend Folio, a decent copy of that, because I like that one as well. I think. Oh, it's on Tumblr. Yeah, I don't like Tumblr.
When I first read the description of the Revenant, it's like, my God, these things are ridiculously powerful.
I was telling them at the beginning, I used the Revenant to.
There's a Revenant.
I'm trying to think of the proper word. Not torture, but annoy the group.
Torment.
Yeah, correct. For like a month and a half, we played every week. And the one guy abandoned his bodyguard. So he came back as a Revenant. We're playing second edition. So he had Ambi-2 weapon and used broadswords. And he just went after the group incessantly. It was awesome.
It's the whole purpose of them. They exist to take out whoever wronged them in life, and don't care about anything else.
Did you ever see the movie House?
No.
From back in the 80s with William Catt and Norm from Cheers and Bull from Night Court and all that?
I think I have.
William Catt is an author, writes horror stories. So he's a Vietnam vet. Well, his best buddy is the guy that played Bull from Night Court. I can't think of the actor's name.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, his Bull gets captured, and he's asking William Catt, like, just kill me. And he says, I can't do it, and runs away. Well, Bull comes back as basically a revenant and is haunting him and kidnaps his son. And that came out, I think that came out before the Fiend Folio did, but that has always struck me as, that's what a revenant would be, except it was intelligent and could talk and everything else.
So, speaking now on RPG experiences, tell us about your favorite use of undead in any adventure that you either run or played.
I was in a game once where some type of magic user had imprisoned a white, or might have been a raid, some type of level draining undead inside a door. So if you touched that door to open it, it sucked the level out of you. I thought that was kind of a shitty thing to do.
One of the adventures I run, I've run. I'd like to run it for people on my channel in the non too distant future. There is a revenant in it, and the party were embroiled in a massive battle that was turning against them. And the party's magic user fled the battle. He got no spells left and was just running around the castle looking for something that could help. And he stumbled into a crypt where there was a revenant. And he opened the casket. Initially, the player shat himself because he thought his character was about to die. But the revenant simply climbed out of the castle, out of the casket, and walked out of the castle and caused the besieging forces to absolutely shit themselves. And the party won the battle as a result. Quite simple, by simply freeing a revenant they didn't even know was there. But it does say in the adventure that the revenant will just, if allowed to, will just get out the casket and just walk and go looking for its target. It has no interest in the player characters. And it's like
one of the D&D novels, it might have been one of the Greyhawk ones, not the ones that Gygax wrote, one of the later ones like Paul Kidd maybe. There's I think it was the forces of IUs are fighting the good forces, and some necromancer type has encased whites inside dead bodies so they look like zombies until they attack and they burst out of the body.
Oh, surprise! Daniel,
you can do the same thing if you're a young magic user and you want to appear more powerful. Wrap your zombies in gauze and make them look like mummies.
Oh yes, hello, mage. Ahoy! Hello, Daniel. A favorite use of undead in a game that you've had?
When I used them, it was that revenant. Used against me was that time with my my favorite character that got drained a total of 8 levels.
Wow.
He went from 12 to 8 twice. So that was my favorite, both against and receiving the favorite use. I mean, recently, Angus, I think, or maybe it was my elf got hit by a ghost. I was like, okay, it was the elf. Like, okay, I'm a young elf, I don't care. So that 10 years meant nothing. But, yeah, that level drain on that ranger was pretty brutal.
Yes, delicious. We go to Saxius.
I mean, I've very much enjoyed running Strahd, but that's because of the roleplay flair I can do with him. When it comes outside of that, like honestly, the nastier the better. As I've said, I quite like the crypt things I've used for many of my games, and I was for one of my 5th edition groups. I was using. Effectively, I was inspired by the Warcraft game where there's a creature called the Abomination. Basically, it's a flesh golem, just made significantly bigger and quite nastier. So I created that as an undead form for the players there to fight, and because the players didn't know what it was, they had to basically test out their many abilities against it and learn what did work, what didn't work.
Didn't they copy that for 5th edition?
What, the Abomination?
Yeah. Let me have a little look. Iman.
Hello.
Favorite use of undead.
Fenalik.
I am so glad you said that, my dear, because I have thoroughly enjoyed playing him, and it is sad that he has gone to his
Departed.
demise.
Yes.
Departed might be the wrong word, but
Well, no, we departed on the train. He.
you departed. You left him alone in the countryside, without the ability to reform. And yes,
People like him are never capable of reforming anyway.
no.
You like my play on words there?
Yeah, there is an Abomination in 5e. I knew they'd nicked it.
No, but like the word Abomination has been used way before then.
Yeah. It's very similar though. It seems to be an amalgamation of bits of corpses and things, all sort of gathered together to be rather unpleasant.
Yeah. Do something like that again. Keep my players on their toes, and just generally just anything. Again, if you buy any of the products from Frog God Games or Troll Lord, I think not Troll Lords, one of the other ones that does Goodman Games, they do very good third-party products. If you want, both 5th edition as well as OSC kind of systems. So
Yeah,
quite like that.
they do DCC versions of most of their stuff, don't they? All of their stuff, pretty much. They do a 5e version and a DCC version if you back their Kickstarters.
Right. Yeah, I don't touch anything to do with DCC, but their 5th edition conversions are very great because it gives me a lot of variety, and because I've got players who've got access to the D&D Beyond, and they've bought, they had a sale, so some of my players have bought every single book on that platform. It means that they can't just look up what they're fighting.
Yes, that is important. I think that keeps Undead scary. We mentioned. Yeah.
Not like that. I want to keep surprises, and I don't mind using stock standard every so often, to keep them so that they go like, oh, okay, we know what we're doing now. Oh no, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
I like them.
Yeah,
to have
something. As we've said many times on these streams, if everything is fantastical, nothing is. So if everything is different, nothing is.
How would you put it? Like, one of my players said, your games are like a roller coaster. I have moments where I feel like I'm in control, the next moment I feel like we're spinning out of control. And it scares me. I was like, that's good. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's exactly how you run your games.
Yep, a lich with a time stop spell. Yeah. It's a lich with quite a few free goes. yes, Sax.
When you run a lich, assuming, let's say it's 5th edition, I have come across someone who made a suggestion, which I think is brilliant, and I think I will absolutely be doing this if I ever, get the chance to bring a lich into my game. bring in spells from different editions as written.
Right.
Because the Lich is so ancient, it has transcended. Again, if we use Forgotten Realms, there's been lore explanations for why magic has shifted and changed and done all of that. Just have this Lich simply been there and say, I have seen the changes of the weaves. Let him have been there. He was there hundreds of years ago when the shattering happened, and he squirreled away all the scrolls so that he could keep the true power that wizards once upon a time held. So when he cast Charm Person, it's the one to do with your intelligence modifier or your intelligence level or score. When he casts, Dominate, it's not just, oh, you're now the best friend. It's like, no. You hand over your character sheet to the game master now, because he is now controlling your character. Bring out these things, because players who have played 5th edition, when you suddenly bring in 3rd edition games, I mean, hell, 3rd edition spells, I found spells where a wizard could just click their finger and then a coffin comes out, grabs a character and pulls them into the dirt, burying them alive, or other spells that literally drags out the water from your body.
Yep.
Udazium's horrid wilting.
Yep.
From 1st edition. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Mm.
The first time I put that in a game, the players lost their mind.
Yeah. Bring out something like this, especially if you're playing a current edition game, and the players will sit there and go like, but these are not the rules of the spell. It's like, oh, no, you don't understand. This Lich doesn't need to play by the rules of the book that we're playing by. He was playing by the edition before. This is how old he is. And just watch this and go, oh. The players will sit there and go, what are you doing? I'm like, playing the game, my dear. It's just not the books we're bound by.
Screw the rules. I have previous editions.
Yeah, the Wizard Spell Compendium has some crazy stuff in it.
Exactly.
Muktuk, then you bring in the saving throw tables from the previous edition.
It's all based on level and class, and you can take most of these classes and simply go, he's a warlock, that's a spellcaster, mage user, done.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
You don't get to make a dex save. You got to save versus Dragon's Breath.
Mm-hmm. You just come in prepared. Like, bring out all these ancient charms and be like, if you're really, really, oriented towards theater, sprinkle some dust or some flour on it and go, now watch as this is being brought out.
Right, I believe this was the first use of a Lich in D&D I'm about to show you.
Descent or Descent into the Depths?
Yeah.
Oh, well done you. Well done you.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Well done you.
Yeah, with the fake orb crown and scepter of might.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And that one little tiny paragraph, there should have been 6 pages talking about how that combat goes.
Yeah, but that's all you get. That's all the adventure gives you about this Lich. Where's he's got a name, hasn't he? I thought he got a name.
Oh, he should have a name.
He does. It's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Liches are not mindless mooks. Liches are there for a reason. And it's, again, I'm going to be referring to my absolute golden standard, the Red Hand of Doom, because you do encounter a Lich in that campaign. While the book says, like, oh, no, the player should, fight him later on. It's like, no, don't do that. This Lich is playing the long con. Go on.
The Lich,
the Descent into the Depths of the Earth D&D novel, and he just absolutely manhandles the hero of that book. I mean,
I've just looked
him down with big B spells.
I've just looked at my PDF, and yes, there's another paragraph on the next page, on the next column, which I haven't put in the picture. So yes, Asperdes is his name, and he has 600 magic mouth spells cast around his lair.
There's one. I don't remember. No, it's not him, but there's one that has a Lich that used for his 4th level spells, every single one of them, he used Rari's Mnemonic Enhancer. And for each one of those, he learned Magic Missile 3 more times. So he's just a Gatling gun. I mean, this thing can cast like 150 magic missiles.
But see, when you come to a lich, it should be a moment of that's bullshit. That shouldn't be fair. You shouldn't be able to do that. Of course, the lich is going to be walking around with stone skin on him. Why not? That's like a basic ass bitch spell to cast upon himself. He should be topping it up with armor because he doesn't want to be hit. He should be topping it up with all these other things that are long lasting, that has got no expiration dates. Why? Because why wouldn't you do it? The players are going to do it to themselves. Of course, the lich is going to be doing this. He will booby trap that entire place so that if he needs to move from room A, where he does all his studying, to room B, he just casts levitates himself. Why? Because the floor is lava. It's a gigantic illusion that there actually are floors to confuse people, and he just floats over it because he doesn't want to deal with that bullshit. I've had the lich
absolutely does not care about spells that age him or drain constitution. He will use permanency on so many things, and he will cast haste on himself and all these things that characters are a little leery to do because it puts them that much closer to death just by casting the spell.
Liches should be terrifying. Again, they are, with all the right preparations and acquiring all the wealth and the utensils, they will absolutely be making some horrifying magical items. And they will be doing deep research. Time has no meaning to you at this point. You can go a full year of just reaching in so that you can just find a little bit of something so that you can hire someone that will hire someone that will hire someone, and you've subcontracted it out for adventurers to go and get you this MacGuffin that you need, and it all comes back to you. But you've meticulously gone out of your way to make sure it never is traced back to you, because when you reveal yourself as a lich, it should be shocking and it should be horrifying.
Finity, the timey-wimey limey, that looks like a perfect cup of tea for me. If you're making, I will have just make sure my tea bag is in for about 2 minutes, then give it a squeeze, half a sugar, and just a little splash of oat milk. I like it nice and brown, quite strong. Thank you.
How many lesser undead has that lich created in the last 1,000 years?
I know. Not to mention, like, how many variations have they created. Again, I love what 3rd edition brought out. The fact that you've got a creature called the Bone Drinker, who just comes at you, and it doesn't even fight you, it just grapples you, and then out from the sides of its ribcage just comes these leeches that bores into your side, and then they suck the marrow out of you, draining your constitution, draining your strength, making you brittle bones, so they can beat you and snap your bones until your lungs collapse. Oh, it is delicious. This is the sort of things that you should be facing when you go up against the lich. Things that are terrifying, things that hurt you.
I just made a blood amoeba, which is basically the blob from the movie.
Nice.
Teabag is
squeezed. One of the things they run into on the plane of Limbo.
Mm-hmm. Go on, John.
Mage has mentioned the lich in the caverns of Thracia. I haven't got it. But I have backed last year's Kickstarter from Goodman Games to get it. And I'm still waiting. The money's gone out, so they're doing it now.
Yeah, but yeah, again, lich. If you're going to be run a lich, you need to sit down and say, right, what has this lich been doing the last 100 years? Start there. Do not do a half measure. These creatures are absolutely neurotic about how they do it. They are always working on something. They are never sitting still. They don't go, I want to see the sunrise and set. No, they don't. They want to go through that same book that they've read 20 times, because somewhere in there is the answer for their questions. They're going to go out and they're going to be making ghost, undead, anything, reinforce it, check the perimeters, recheck them again, recast some spells, research, test any of the ideas that they've got, and just proceed in that sense. They have got goals in mind. When you get into not just liches, when you get into death knights, when you get into sentient undead, especially with the capabilities of casting spells, you need to start thinking like a player, and you need to be, and well, not necessarily unfair, but you should definitely be using this creature to its full extent and show no mercy, because these creatures have none. They have none whatsoever. They should murder the players, murder the characters, and take what they need because there are valuable components. Unless they need them alive, in which case, just dominate them. Have them jump into a pit, lock them up there, only give them the scraps. I mean, you've calculated how much nutrition that they require to be alive for the next 19 months when the stars are aligned for you. It's brilliant. It's perfect. This is how you go about it.
We appear to have jumped ahead to liches, but we're going to go back. Ghasts don't really get much of a mention. They're a bit meh, in my opinion. The Wraith is something that Halakar likes. They're the next ones up the power level, and they are good as a mid-level foe, in my opinion. They're not particularly powerful per se, but hitting as a 4+ hit dice monster.
Well, they're the first non-corporeal undead.
Yes. The first ones that look ghostly. They drain levels, they move really quickly, and they hit pretty well. Okay, they can't take a massive amount of damage, but they're going to move really quickly. You might not even see it coming, and that's what's scary about Wraiths. Because it's the sheer speed. What is their movement rate? 18 or 24, something like that. It's faster than PCs can move.
That's flight level.
Yeah. But they effectively do fly, don't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, they become a real hit and run.
I've just got this image of like, oh, the sun has set, and then out from the distance, you've just got this interballistic wraith being deployed, flying towards the enemy fortress, just straight through in there, just like, I will touch everything and everyone will die, and just move on. They will drain an entire castle that way. You wouldn't.
I don't know
it.
if you guys have them in Europe, but we have these beetles that come out in the summer. We call them June bugs. They're pretty good size. They fly. They're noisy, and they've got little spikes on their legs, so they will get caught in your hair like nothing. Mm-hmm. And they swarm any source of light. You know, they'll be on your screens. You know, if you got light on in your room, whatever. And the way those things swarm and dive bomb and all that has always been the way I've had wraiths attack. You know, they're gonna come in. They're gonna hit you the first time before you even know they're there, and then they're gonna fly out of range unless you've got some kind of missile weapon that maybe it can hit them, maybe it can't, maybe you can see them, maybe you can't. And
do silver weapons hit wraiths, or is it just magic weapons? Are they the first ones?
I think it's magic.
I think it's magic. The lowest level that's magic only is the Coffer Corpse. But,
right.
But yeah, or think about Raiders of the Lost Ark, when the spirits come out of the Ark when the Nazis open it. I mean, that's how I play raids. I mean, I have fun with them because, like you said, they're quick.
Yes, yeah,
and they can fit through keyholes and the crack under a door, and all these neat things.
Yes. So we're getting into the realms of things that really start actually being quite scary to moderately powerful characters now. Everything we've gone through so far will put the willies up at a low-level party. Absolutely. But wraiths will really start... Obviously, whites in numbers will scare a higher-level party. But wraiths, just so their mobility, their speed, they start to scare the higher-level characters a bit more. At least they should. Thank you.
So much of it comes down to how they're DM'd as well. I mean, I'll admit, when Ravenloft first came out, I bought it. As soon as it hit the shelf, I bought it. And I spent about an hour reading it over, and that Friday night we played it. I DM'd it, and I did a terrible job of it. I would love to go back and DM that again. I've never been through it as a player. I only ran it the one time. and nobody died. They all made it through. They got the Sun Sword. Everybody thought they were Thundar the Barbarian, and yeah, I would love to go back and do that with as a grown up.
You just know that means I'm going to be looking for another piece of artwork. One of my favorite pieces of internal art. Just bear with me again. Well, we're going to move on to the next Undead on the list, and that is the Mummy.
Yeah.
The only one you can resurrect.
A very different form of undead to some of the previous ones, and
why? Because this one used to have a human body.
Well, no, the other ones used to have human bodies, but we're talking disease now. We're talking
mummy rods.
Oh no!
Mummy rod. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes, it's delicious.
Oh, someone's just outdone me.
Oh, who? Who? Where? What? Where? Squirrel Hermit. Squirrel Hermit. Hello. How you doing? Thank you.
I take it back. A raid can be hit with silver weapons, but they only do half damage.
Right. Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. You've got to make sure you've got those silver arrows ready, because it's going to be hit and run, and you need to be ready for it. And you've got to hope the initiative dice are good to you, because if they're not, you're in deepy doo-doos. Here we go. Here we go. Right. One of my favorite pieces of artwork in any adventure from a module we have just mentioned. And I think this is a great way of depicting undead. Can anyone predict what picture I'm going to show?
No.
Ravenloft?
Hmm?
The cover of Ravenloft?
No. No.
Because I think that's one of the more powerful ones.
That's pretty powerful.
Go on, John. Show us.
The flump.
Yeah. No.
I've never seen that feel of those things.
Yeah, I like that one. That was down in the cellars.
That is how you should depict zombies. These are juju zombies in this adventure, but this is how you should depict zombies rising from the muck. Isn't that a marvelous piece? Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Clyde Caldwell at his absolute finest. We haven't come to vampires yet. The sleeping vampire is good, but this artwork is stunning in my humble opinion. Yes, Strahd zombies. Well, are they Strahd zombies? Or are they Juju? They're Strahd zombies, aren't they? Not Juju zombies. Strahd zombies.
Yeah, they're Strahd, because he's the one raising them.
Yes,
they've got their own rules.
Completely their own rules. But yes, the limbs, they're like, you know how troll limbs will also keep on fighting, and but it's glorious. It's a glorious piece of artwork, and it depicts the horror of the undead and that desperate situation that poor warrior is in, because there's at least 5 zombies in that picture. Yeah, so I like that one. I like that one a lot. The sleeping vampire from Sajkant is great as well, and all the stuff.
Oh, she's a badass. the sword of cleric slaying. Oh yeah.
But mummies, they are just that sort of often depicted as just sort of that shambling step up from like a zombie, shambling away, waff with the rot. But I like the whole Egyptian imagery anyway. But at least with a mummy, you're likely to get some treasure. So the players are likely to want to take the mummy on, even with all of its hideous abilities. It's got strengths, it's got weaknesses. But there's also often a story behind behind a mummy. You can factor them in. They can become like adventure bosses almost. We're at the sort of stage in that tier now where we've got undead that can be sort of end of game boss level sort of fights, to give it its video game term. And I think the mummy
be approaching the first mini boss. Is that what you're telling me?
Just mini
Yeah,
boss.
pretty much.
I think so. Yeah.
When the Brandon Fraser Mummy movie came out, I think that really moved forward the whole idea of having a detailed backstory behind why a mummy became a mummy.
Mm.
Because in the old Boris Karloff ones, it was just it's a
mummy, yeah.
And here it comes. There was a curse.
Yeah.
Muktuk's absolutely right here.
Well, it's again. My understanding is that you've got the mummies as is, but you've also got the mummy lords, which is what I'm thinking that most of us are trying to refer to. The pharaoh, the high priestess, the vizier of the kingdom. Now, those are the ones that we should be seeing that have got the intelligence, the capabilities, whereas the lesser mummies are effectively the other nobilities, the warlords and the likes, who were mummified and then risen up at the command of the mummy lords.
They're still pretty cool, though.
Mummies in general, they're great because again, you've got the whole fear of I don't want to get anywhere near the mummy rod because the hell with that.
But they've got the fear effect as well. The first undead that have a fear aura. People will shit and run. This again, these we're coming back to those sort of mechanics that make them genuinely scary, and that's how they should be. I'm a fan of mummies. I like them, and I like them a lot. But I am a sucker for the whole Egyptian feel.
Check out Squirrel's little tail there.
Oh, the Mummy Lord rewarded you for stopping his enemies. So it was a nice change. Oh, yeah. Okay. They're intelligent. Yes. Yeah. I mean, why would a Mummy Lord be bothered with an insignificant Nothic? Surely the Mummy Lord's powerful enough to deal with it if it's pissing it off. That's the only thing there, I think. No, they're yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Was there a mummy in Lost City? I think Zargon was just the big bad guy, but I don't remember if
there might have been in the half-done expert.
Yeah, the 6 through 10 level.
Yeah, the ones that weren't really completed. I think there might be one down there. I'm pretty sure there is, but not in the proper levels.
When I finish my current campaign, any of the players that want to stick around and go again, I'm going to start them in Lost City, and then go to the Desert of Desolation, and Ghost Tower Inverness will fit well in a desert setting.
Yes, absolutely.
So there will definitely be some mummies involved there, and that's Von Richten's guide is coming out because they're not going to be standard mummies.
Mm-hmm.
This just came in the mail the other day. Might be too small to see. B4.5.
Oh, you were talking about that in the Discord.
Yeah, it goes into detail on 6 of the areas on the actual sunken city below the pyramid. And when I saw this, I immediately thought of Saxia. This might be too small to read. The artifact, the Rod of Necromantic Might.
Nice.
Of course, I mean the Goodman Games version of B4 went into detail for those extra areas as well. It'd be interesting to see how similar they are. This
was a tie-in. Actually, there's like 7 parts in this. There's different areas. There's like the Isle of the Dead or whatever it is that's underneath, and there's zombie caves. But they've also got an intermediate level between the 5 well-detailed levels and then the 5 where they just give you monster treasure hit points. So
one other thing,
some expansion there, and I've got the big thick one, but I have not read through the 5th edition part, because so much when I get into the stat blocks and all that, I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't know what 90% of the stuff is in them. I recognize armor class, I recognize hit points. All
it
this
is
other
fairly
stuff.
straightforward. Most of it is sort of adjustments to relevant skill rolls. So if it says strength +3, if you're making a skill check, that's a D20 with a +3
Right.
roll. That's basically what a lot of it is.
But when it gets to the part that wasn't in the original module, you know,
Yeah.
and again, I can pull out the whatever monsters and magic items and whatnot they have in there and fill the hole with better stuff.
Yeah. What Daryl says here, that's interesting. New Pharaoh's tomb discovered a few years ago in the Valley of the Kings. Thutmose II. Flooded and relocated nearby. Not located yet. What they do? Probably not looted. Okay, so who is ready to head off to Egypt then and brave enough to deal with the curse? Because that's another thing with mummies. There is that whole idea of the cursed tomb. That adds flavor.
Well, you know, to be honest, this is the time when we should be doing that, because most of us are getting older. I mean, we don't have as much to lose as some of these young folks.
It's when the curse affects the firstborn of your firstborn.
Right.
Yes. Hello, Peter. Yes, it affects the firstborn of your firstborn. Then you've
Oh.
got problems.
Oh, that is the easiest way around. You just adopt.
That's funny.
You could do that. You could do that.
Well, there you go. Like it's the whole thing of like, of course, I mean, yeah, I'll make a deal with the face. Like your firstborn, gotcha. There you go.
Things you
Adopt.
don't have a firstborn yet. I already
Firstborn that we know of. I mean, because I was a Marine. I was stationed overseas. I mean,
No, yeah, again, but that's listen, Halakar. That's why you agree to the contract, and then they have to sort out the logistics. That's not your problem.
there's a greater than 0% chance, you know.
Yeah, but again, they have to sort out the logistics. That's not a them problem. They could go through the archives. They could go digging for it. You signed the dotted line. It's provided out there somewhere. That's not for you to worry about.
Right. Next on the list is the Halakar will know straight away. The Spectre. Why is the Spectre capable of putting the shits up any player character?
Not only will it drain a level, it'll take 2. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Ask me how I know.
Yes. It
I
doesn't
hate
just
those
take
things.
1 level of experience, it takes 2.
There you go.
Now, have any of you ever made Undead based on things from movies and TV shows and stuff like that? Because look at the Strahd zombie here. Of course, after I watched John Carpenter's The Fog, I made aquatic zombies.
And would you base them on a Strahd zombie?
No, they were more along the lines of
What, Lacedons or
like the yellow musk zombies and things like that.
right?
Yeah.
That's not the one I want, but it's kind of along those lines.
Yep.
That's a good. That's a evil foe to throw against somebody. The yellow musk creeper, but that's a time for another stream. That one is because any
Pseudo undead.
pseudo undead. Yes. But no, the Spectre is it's a complete sort of screw you monster. And the thing about it is they tend to, because they're not massive hit dice, they tend to be thrown into mid-level adventures, but they're harder to turn than mummies. In fact, you need to be at least 5th level to turn a Spectre as a cleric in AD&D, and even then you only turn it on a 20, and you've got to be 8th level to have to turn it on a 10 to basically get your chance above 50%. That's brutal for a creature that drains 2 levels. That's absolutely
And I've
brutal.
always looked at a Spectre as that's going to be kind of a surprise monster, because a Spectre, the way I run them, isn't going to be wandering the countryside and committing all these evil acts like a vampire would or something like that. You're going to go into a mausoleum and you're going to open something that you maybe shouldn't have had opened, and boom, there it is.
It'll be tied to that crypt, won't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not really a lot to say about it. It's like they're stronger, yes. They're not as they're strong in terms of what they can do. They've got less head dice, but yeah, that's sort of it.
We have, of course, skipped past the Banshee, which I believe can't be turned. It's a spirit, but I'm not sure that they can't be turned, can they? I don't think.
You talking about one of Dan's exes again?
Yeah.
No, they can be turned off. They just can't be turned.
So yeah, I mean, Banshee's
and
always
groaning spirits.
Oh yes. The whole whale thing. That's something that has been. They're still pretty nasty in 5th edition. They're one of the few undead that they're nasty in 5th edition because if you fail your save by too much, you're pretty much dead. So there is an insta killer. You're instantly dropped to 0 hit points, I believe, if you fail your save. So there is still the occasional gotcha in 5th edition like that, but it was just save or die, wasn't it? In AD&D.
Yeah, specters. You need a full-on magic weapon to hit them too.
Yeah. I actually listened, Cody. I watched their live performance where he performed it dangling at Coachella in 2005. He was dangling like a bat. I watched it before this stream. His live performance of Bela Lugosi's Dead. It's classic. Really good performance. Peter, we were talking about how undead need to be scary, and those mechanics in older editions where ghoul paralysis would last ages and the ghouls would just drag you off and eat you, shadow strength drain, white level drain, that would get players scared. And I think the point of the point of these sort of creatures is not just to get the characters scared, it's to get the players scared. If you don't do that, undead haven't done their job.
Well, yeah, because think about it, like going back to my ranger, I had years into this character, and then he gets knocked down to 8. Takes me another 3 years to get him built back up, knocked back down to 8. It kind of sucked.
All right, here's your clue to the next one on the table.
I think we've talked too much about it. We can skip it. Like, what do we have to say that hasn't already been said?
Phantoms, like of the opera.
Good old Strahd von Zarovich. Yes. Just admire the artwork, though. Admire Clyde Caldwell's artwork of Strahd playing with his organ.
Oh, is he now?
He is, yes. Tinkling his ivories. Fingering his notes. And I will drop the euphemisms. We have already discussed vampires. And we've already discussed ghosts, haven't we?
Yep.
And we've already discussed the Lich.
Yep.
And the last thing on the table is the special, which are not undead at all.
Okay,
Devil,
so
demons.
Slight aside then, for me, obviously, because I don't really know, what's the difference between a Lich and a Demi-Lich?
Couple 100,000 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Demi-Lich is basically the remains in like the skull, whereas the Lich is the body.
Yeah, the Lich has gotten so old that it's basically turned into dust. All that's left is the skull and maybe a bone or two.
I believe in the end of the Tomb of Horror, it is a Demi-Lich that you are facing off against.
Yeah, that's what we got killed by.
Yeah, so that's the difference. That guy is a more senior version of a Lich.
And there was a discussion in chat earlier about can an undead that has been around for so long suffer mental degradation. And I said, to me, that's what the demi-lich is. Mm-hmm. It has lost its purpose, drive, whatever it was. Now it is just purely, I wish to seek pain and destruction on anything that disturbs me. Yeah, it's not researching new spells or creating magic items. It's just purely there to hate.
Yeah.
I'm up to its height. Yes.
It's basically reached to the point of where it's just gone, like how some animals sort of go like, okay, it is now my time. I'm just going to find a place, lay down, and just pass away. It's like the Lich has now reached that stage itself and it's gone, well, I can't pass away because I am eternal. So I am now just going to be here, as a skull, and no one disturbs me. Anyone who disturbs me will die because I want to be left alone forever now.
Damn. That is to become a Lich.
Yeah, but that is like the end result. Although there are some liches that are they realize they're reaching this point, so they go like, no, I won't, I can't. So they now generate flying ships and go off into space, and they become a thing in space in the Spelljammer, which is hilarious that you just come across liches who have these like very arcane things that they can't fly as quickly as everyone else, but they're like, I refuse to die. I am just gonna come along with like their it's like mobility scooters in space, and it was like, oh dear.
Are they like that snail that follows you everywhere and it will kill you if it finally catches up to you?
Pretty much, like they are horrifying in that setting, but it's like the way that they've gone about it is the completely wrong way because that's a separate discussion. But yeah, that's the fun thing about the liches, is that it can reach these level of absurdities.
It's like Slan says, I mean, we all grow up thinking we won't become our father. And it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
It will creep up on you.
Liches think die in the first 1,000 years, leave an attractive skeleton.
So when one becomes a lich, they have like a purpose that they want to like fulfill or something?
No. When you decide to become a lich, you are consciously saying, I am killing myself to never die again, because you are trapping your soul from leaving the plane. That is why they have what's called for the phylactery. It is a piece that keeps their soul tethered to whatever world that you are. And you, as a lich, you keep that hidden away, you keep it locked away, and no one touches it.
Remember we found that, and we didn't.
Sorry, what?
No, I was reminding him on. We thought we found it, but we didn't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that bit in Tomb of Horrors where you think you found it. Yeah.
No. A phylactery is like, it is the equivalent of if you can take your life out of your current body right now, Iman, and you can put it into an item. And now imagine that someone holds that items. They are literally holding your life in their hand. You're not going to feel very comfortable about that. That's how liches feel about the phylactery. So you are not becoming a lich because you are going like, oh, I have a purpose. You turn around and say, no, I don't want to die. I have so much to live for. I have so many projects that needs to be done. So you decide that you don't want to die, and you cheat. You generate a phylactery. You go through the ritual, and you die, and then if you did it right, you are reborn as a lich. If you did it wrong, well, would you look at that? You kind of screwed up, and yeah.
Fair enough.
So would Dorian Gray?
No, Dorian Gray is a different case because he basically trapped his life inside of a painting, which every time he looked upon it, then that would reflect back upon him. He's a different case. That's more of a curse rather than a phylactery. Because with a phylactery, you just continue living. Like your body is dead and it continues to decay, but you just keep on working.
I'm just looking at this. I'd not heard of the Grey Philosopher, but Pidar's mentioned. I'm just reading about it.
That's kind of funny because 10 minutes ago and this, I was actually looking at them.
So what were you looking at there? Sorry, I didn't see that. You show it again, Dan.
Let me get a little closer.
Oh, the creature catalog.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the undead and this while we've been talking.
Ah, cool. And the great philosophers in there, is it?
About 75% of us would fall under that category of gray philosopher too.
These look brutal. They don't attack by themselves. They've just got things called malices which fight on their behalf.
Yes.
That's... Oh. How many did? How many malices do they make?
What?
How many malices do they create?
The other one in there is.
If it doesn't specify, it's unlimited.
I'm just looking to see if there is anything written on here as to how many they create. It doesn't appear to say so. So, 2d4, 2d4, 2d4 for every century of its foul existence.
What?
The other one.
Oh, so one that's been alive there for 1,000 years, 20 to 80.
The other one I like in that book is the weird. WYRD.
The word.
They basically throw 2 balls of energy at you around.
That's the Firefox homepage with its usual shite that it tries to look at, tries to throw.
Let's see if I can.
Yeah, some of the older books are famous for not specifying things. You know, going back to the ghoul, it doesn't say how long you're paralyzed once it hits you.
No.
Is this supposed to be a limit?
Well, like the carrion crawler, I think has it'll paralyze you for X amount of rounds or turns or whatever it is. I guess they just figure the ghoul will have you eaten before it wears off.
Yeah. In an ideal world.
Yes, ghoulish dinner. So, let's go on to necromancers then.
What about them?
Raising the dead. Necromancers as player characters.
Okay.
I played one in a campaign, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I named my zombies and skeletons.
Of course you would, you freak.
I mean, and I would kill a guard, for example, raise him as a zombie, and then send him against his friends as a zombie, just for shits and giggles.
You really like to play it fast and loose, don't you?
Yeah.
Because those actions are what I would in my games. I would be having witch hunters cracking down on that. Because
there was no one living afterwards. It would just torment people as they died. Really.
All right. So no witnesses, no survivors.
I mean, if there was a problem, then I'm sure Cloud Kill would mop them up. But he preferred to toy with his food. These were evil people we were killing. Don't you deny me my fun. I'm allowed to enjoy killing evil people, am I not?
See, necromancers are one that they don't have a lot of media presence. You know, any evil magician is just called a necromancer when they're not necessarily using that type of magic. Same with illusionists. I always hated the fact that you can't watch a movie and some movie and say, hey, here's a perfect example of an illusionist. It's the same with they're just evil magic users. They don't have very many true necromancers.
No.
mean, that character is, I've mentioned him a lot of times on stream. He started off as neutral, and the idea was that he would descend into insanity and become more evil as time went on. And I had a chat with the DM, and he would eventually, the idea was that he would eventually become too mad and become an enemy. And I was all fine with that. And I was portraying it, and I was just dropping little hints that he was getting worse. And I mean, one of the things I did, for example, was we were being pursued by, I think it was kobolds, lots and hordes, hundreds upon hundreds of them. And we ran through a door, slammed the door shut, and was like, "How do we blockade this door?" And I was like, "No, just wait." And I opened the door, waited till the kobolds were almost in range, dropped a cloud kill in the corridor, and closed the door until it was only slightly ajar. And then turned to my friends and went, "Just listen. Is that sound not delicious?" And all the kobolds are there going and dying. And he was starting to enjoy that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, but like, it's one of the reasons for why in most worlds necromancy is banned as a school. And I'm not even looking at like Cloudkill, because that's not even the necromantic school.
No.
But you start looking at what it is that a necromancer does. They are drawing upon the negative energies, the negative plane. They are conjuring forth forces which are deadly and disruptive towards the very nature. Ergo, generally speaking, if you're going to, whenever I've run campaigns where the school of necromancy is permitted, it comes with a caveat that you are not permitted to ever cast raise dead. You're not ever allowed to do anything that disrupts the natural order of life and death. You may be able to do it for studying, you may be able to do it for other things, but it is not a school that is permitted to go out and do these things. And that's purely because, once you get a taste of the ability of raising people, well, yeah, you're going to be able to do things. The same with the conjurers. You're summoning creatures against their will that's going to go out and do whatever it is that you tell them to do. You're not being a good person. I mean, I'm not even going to go into like enchantment and charm school. Like, those are horrifying schools. Horrifying.
Yeah.
Honestly, that should be the banned school, in my opinion.
But I'd say I thoroughly enjoyed playing my necromancer. And yes, I have heard this joke before, but I thought it worth repeating from Peter. Does a true necromancer have to go through a rite of passage by marrying this? Well, no, my necromancer was never going to get married. He couldn't speak to women. He was a complete autist.
That would be a necromancer.
Yeah, necromancer. I played him as a complete, a hugely hyperbolic, autistic, megalomaniac, insane. He was horrible. His only true friend was a goblin brain that he kept pickled in a jar. It was the brain that he'd removed from his goblin servant who'd met an unfortunate demise. Otto was his name, and he'd sit and talk to him. Sit and talk to Otto.
I had a magic user that had a pickled halfling brain in a jar that let him cast, I think it was Charm Person twice a day or something like that.
Oh, Otto wouldn't help at all. Otto was just a dead brain. But my necromancer thought he spoke to him. that was the whole point. But yeah, brains in jars are good.
No, that was from White Plume Mountain, where there was, what was it, the ogre mage that was pretending to be a halfling.
Yep.
Yeah, I killed that just as it was changing and thought, hey, there's something special about this. So I cut its brain out and put it in a jar.
Well, necromancers as a character for the players, it's a question of, does it go against what your world has? What is the viewpoint of necromancy? I mean, my second edition game, I made it quite clear. Demonology and necromancy was banned in probably like 80% of the world. The remaining 20 was the Necromancer Empire, who openly said, we do not care. We use them because we are at a massive war against an old red dragon and its kingdom. So we are just using every single soldier we can and the dead to continue fighting. And they just basically went, done.
All my zombies and skeletons had female names, by the way. They were named after Sisters of Mercy songs, and then I ran out of Sisters of Mercy songs, so I just gave them other female names. Right. Alice, Lucretia, Marianne.
Right. But
I always thought that was an error in first edition D&D, is that all the healing spells were actually necromancy spells. Cure light wounds, remove poison, all those are considered necromancy. Which is
but that's within the school of within the spheres, though. So within the clerical sense, it would make sense because you are dealing with death in that essence, that you are healing or preventing that to be done. So I understand from
the body, yeah.
So I am understanding from the cleric's perspective, because clerics and spellcasters, to my understanding, they operate on very different rules when it comes to these things.
Well, didn't they was it third edition where they added a life as one of the spheres? Or healing or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So effectively, in third edition, they said, okay, you've got your main god, and then whatever major domain that god has, you will then get one additional spell as you level for each spell level, and which actually meant that you could then go in and be like, okay, I'm now a cleric of this god of healing, and I will get all these additional bonuses as I level up, which definitely ended the debate at that point.
Yeah.
I remember it. Maybe second edition might have even done something like that with a specialty priest, but
yes, they did.
I'd have to dig out my book.
No, it's in second edition. They did specialty priests.
Yes. I think we've pretty much hammered Undead throughout the entire stream, and almost stayed on topic for the whole stream.
Did you see Slon's joke?
Yeah, the necromancers. Yes. I will put it on the screen for anyone who's missed it. There we go, Slan. Your sense of humor to touch everybody else in chat. So, games coming up.
That is a true dad joke.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, favorite vampire movie.
I don't watch horror films.
No, you don't. Well, wait. We can still get you to watch something that's still a horror to society. Go and watch Twilight. I got you all.
I must spit my drink out. Holy shit. That was funny. Oh my God.
I'm just going to say Blade.
You truly do not like the man if you told him to watch that.
The nearest to a horror film I have watched is the Blair Witch Project. I quite enjoyed the psychological horror in that.
I don't know if it's the best one by any stretch, but my favorite vampire movie has got to be Lost Boys.
That was really good, yeah. I only ever saw it once, but it was.
Oh, I watch that every year in October.
The only thing I know about Lost Boys didn't have People Are Strange by the cover version by Echo and the Bunnymen on its soundtrack.
It had a good soundtrack, real good soundtrack.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Echo and the Bunnymen. I like them a lot. Good band, very very.
Kiefer Sutherland did a really good teenage vampire.
Right, games coming up. Iman, you are running your second. When are you going to run your second game? Have you decided on a date yet?
Yeah, I'm provisionally looking at Sunday, the 6th of April.
Sunday, the 6th of April. Okay, and that's your players are going to be Daniel, Joker, Straw Piglet, and who was the other one? No, Saurian. There we go. And it'll be the second running of Deadlight.
Oh yeah. Let's see if these guys survive. Or
You discovered
sane.
a few holes in the adventure, didn't you? Running it the other day, but they're not important.
Yeah, there was a few holes when I was reading it, and then when I was running it, I was like, "Oh, okay, yep."
As you become more confident, though, you just realize what you need to gloss over, or fill in gaps where necessary.
Yeah, I told Andy about the obvious red herring as well because he's reading through the adventure, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm glad you didn't include that." And I'm like, "Yep, that's exactly why I didn't."
Yeah. Saxius games coming up.
Friday Heroic. Saturday I've got my sci-fi game, which is going to be interesting. They're gonna, if they do what I think they're gonna do, they're gonna meet a socially inept person who is in charge of an agricultural aspect of a planet, which is going to be funny. And then they're going to go down and meet some of the local monsters. So we'll see how that goes. And Sunday, I am having my Witcher game, where every time my recent game saw the player who is the doctor stitch up all the wounded, and after they tried to haggle to be paid for all the services, and they learned that the guy who was doing the haggling just kept on botching his role. The other guy basically went like, "I'm not paying a dime," and the doctor went, "Okay, I'm undoing all my work," and immediately turned around and like snipped up all the hard work he had done to save the people, with many of them screaming, crying, and begging for mercy. Some of them trying to pay for the services themselves. It's a grim world I'm making them play, and it's hilarious. It's just so. they are a hairbreadth away from being murdered every session. I am loving it.
Good. I imagine you would. Brian, no worries. Life comes first. Per Iman's not going to be streaming that game. I believe he records them so he can go back and listen to them and think and work out what he can improve and that sort of thing. Did you record the audio from the previous one or not? I thought you were going to record.
I got a bit of it. It didn't really go that well because it slowed my internet down significantly. So
fair enough. Daniel, are you playing any games this weekend?
Have a couple Saturday. I know I have Axe Saturday night. There's the morning game. I believe there's a Merps Saturday.
Game, yes.
Don't you have something going on Friday night, Dan?
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. But I may end up running Saturday morning, so we'll see.
Okay.
Word of advice: if I'm running Saturday, bring some clerics.
Okay.
I approve of this message.
Halakar, any gaming coming up?
Yep, my next session, my group is going to enter the caves full of myconids and ghouls and piercers and if they decide to side with the myconids in order to be tested to make sure that they're sufficiently powerful to fight off the ghouls and the ghasts and all that, they're going to be hit with hallucinator spores, and I'm going to give them all new character sheets, and they are going to go through as far as they can get in S1.
And, splendid.
Each room that they survive, their primary character will get 50 experience points because in their mind they have done this.
That's really, I like that. Having S1 at Tomb of Horrors as a dream sequence caused by myconid spores. That's excellent. That is excellent.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. I like that. Myconid, by the way, Iman, myconids are hippie mushroom men.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah,
I could really think
stoners. I've
got little things of spices. Each type of spore they use has a different scent, so I'll pass those around whenever they release a different kind of spore.
Yeah, look, that's marvelous. That's marvelous. It's actually going to say to me.
I was just going to disagree.
Sorry, I just want to say that sounds like the worst trip ever. You take some mushrooms up in the Tomb of Horrors.
They're not all happy.
I was going to say I disagree with that. The Myconids are hippies, but that's purely because I run them with the intent of them being very aggressive with their territory. Because if you've, from what I've read of fungi, once you've got two different fungi making contact, they do not get along well, and it gets really nasty.
But,
Well,
but
the Myconids,
player characters aren't fungi, though, are they? So they'll accept them in as long as they're peaceful.
the Myconid king can actually kill off the ghouls because he can turn any. The ghouls are undead, so they're technically a dead body. He can turn any dead body into a zombie serving him.
Mm-hmm.
But between the two ends of the cavern, there's a huge section full of piercers. So he doesn't want to get killed by the piercers, so that's why he's going to try to hire the players to go do it. And the same thing, if they happen to find the ghouls and ghasts first and communicate with them, the ghasts will say, "Hey, we can't fight these." You know, they're going to play up the Myconids as being these terrible, evil fungus men because one of the players died to a violet fungus already. So they're going to say, "Hey, if you kill off these bad fungus men, we will give you, you know, whatever." They've got some potions and stuff. They'll give us a reward. So the party gets to decide who they're going to fight for, or if they're just going to go in and try to kill everything, or if they're just going to get down there and say, "Hey, screw this," and climb back up the chute to get out.
It sounds like a good quandary to have.
They come down a 50-foot water slide to get there. They plop in a pool. All their light sources go out, and there's a giant trapper there that as soon as they hit the pool, it mentally projects into their mind, "Are you food?" And if they don't answer within 10 seconds, it just attacks the first one and eats it.
I mean, you've got your party now to a degree of experience, and now you're unleashing your inner Saxius on them by the sound of things.
It just sounded like fun.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Actually, I'll upload that adventure and the map and stuff to the Discord if anybody wants to.
I saw you pop that up. I'd have a look. I just don't have the time, unfortunately. But I'd have a look. But if I do get some time, I'll have a browse through.
Feel free to mine it for IDs. It's a cool map too. It's a very simplified version of a real map of a cave system out in Utah.
Oh, right. So yeah.
So it's very organic and natural in its design, and it's complex. My mapper's going to lose his mind.
Sanity check mapper. Hello, Manfred. You've joined us late, as always. I've got games coming up. Friday night. I'm going to shill it again. If anybody wants to play Call of Cthulhu with me, I'm live streaming a Call of Cthulhu game. It might take 2 sessions to do. It might take 1. More likely 2. Starts at 9 p.m. my time on Friday, which is 4 p.m. Eastern time, America. So if you're free, I think we've got 3 players signed up. He's going to check again. Yeah, we've got. I mean, Andy's not appearing on the list, but he's got a character. He's talking about that character. So I'm assuming it's Andy, Daniel, and Nosorian at the moment. Iman has ticked that he's interested, but he's
doesn't mean showing up. It just means interested.
He's moonlighting. But I'll be running a Gaslight scenario. Characters are ready. I've got a number of characters ready in the Discord for anyone who wishes to join. Give your missus our best wishes, Manfred. Hope she's improving. You told me about the issues she's had lately. So fingers crossed. Hopefully everything's all right. I am touching wood, as in my desk. So that's Friday. 9 till midnight. That's scheduled for, and that will be live streamed on the channel. Last week it fell through, unfortunately, because only Andy turned up on time. Daniel got confused. Legbreaker had to drop out. Joker was due to play, and he then got asked to go to a party. He was going to leave the party early, but his lift turned up really late, so he'd have been turning up to the party going, "Hi, bye." So he had to pull out. And Nosorian got stuck in traffic on his way home from work, so he turned up about 10 o'clock. So we ended up with 2 players. One of them was very late, so we decided not to play. We'll wait till this week. Then Saturday we've got Merp. So I'll see you there, Daniel, I guess.
Yep.
Manfred, I don't know if you're available with your situation with the wife. Brian, I know might not be available, but I'm imagining Maynard, Eldarian, Joker, Nosorian, all the other regulars will almost certainly be there. So that's my weekend ahead. Looking forward to it. So lots of gaming. Yes, don't forget to like the stream, minions, or the Ace-Eric will indeed take your souls, just like he took Iman's soul and Daniel's soul and Straw Piglet's soul. And then I missed somebody. Who else played? Joker's soul. Joker's soul. Yes. I'm glad you've experienced that. But we have hit pumpkin hour, which means it is time for me to shut my fat face and go to my Betty buys. I want to thank Iman, Zaxius, Daniel, Halakar, and Bear, who was here earlier. Thank you all for a good chat tonight.
Thank you for hosting.
No problem.
Cheers for having us.
It's been a pleasure. And thank you, chat, for interacting with us. Always good to have you here. As I said, I'll be streaming again next on Friday. Hope to see you then. Good night.
Have a good night, all.
Take care.